stream so that my VOD is recorded. Or wait, did I? Oh no, I don't know if I set it up. I might have just ruined it. Uh-oh. Did I just goof something? You may hear double for just a moment. Oh no, it's working. Okay, perfect. So that's going strong. And now, I think I can just start. All right, here we go. Do I have a, oh, I do have a webcam. Turn that thing on. There we go. There I am. There's me. And okay. Yeah, time to paint. Well, let's see how long I hold up. My eyes are sore. I've been playing too many video games in the last couple days. All right, let's see. I feel like I'm missing something. I don't know what I'm missing though. But I don't think there's anything I have to turn on. I think that I got everything. Chicken Teriyaki says, I'm well, thank you. I've been gone because your stream time is my usual 11:30 p.m. and I sleep around 10 p.m. Yeah, it's understandable. That's the thing, right? Sometimes your schedule shifts, sometimes my schedule might shift as a streamer. I mean, although I don't think I've ever actually shifted my schedule, but like for streaming in general, right? There's always gonna be things that change, and yeah, it's no worries. But yeah, hope you're good. All right, I think what I want to do is open up a new batch of thumbnails. I have a plan today. Not a real plan. Every day I have a little tiny plan because I like, that's what keeps it fresh for me, is like trying new things. It's kind of like in a video game, right? Where like every character you play or every time you play, like you try teeny tiny little things. Lots of it stays the same. But for me, the thing that I am trying is going to be having... So a lot of times I'll put like little character... I didn't have any characters in here, but sometimes I'll put little characters in my scene, and they just kind of like little blobs standing. And I'm going to try to put some characters in my scenes today that aren't just standing, but actually interacting with the environment. So probably simple stuff like sitting on ledges or you know, beyond just standing on an area, right? Like sitting, or which is different because that changes what the environment is, right? You can't sit in the middle. I mean, you could sit in the middle of nowhere, right? I could draw a character sitting here, I guess, like cross-legged, but that's not what I mean, right? I mean, like, if I have a ledge, you know, have a character, their feet's dangling down and they're sitting up there overlooking the view, you know, that kind of thing. That's sort of what I want to do today. You know, maybe I'll have like a tree and you'll have a character climbing over it, or an animal jumping over, you know, stuff like that. I think, hey, how's it going? We got some people. Lanuxo, howdy howdy. Observer, hello. Hope you're doing well. Yippee, new streams. Hi, everyone. It is yippee. I'm glad you're excited for. I'm excited for new streams. New opportunity to start some thumbnails that hopefully don't go too wrong, and a new painting. I'm excited. Oh, I'm still setting up stream, so bear with me a moment while we stare at this wonderful blank canvas. I need a color. Random color. Throw one in chat if you're here. Just like a hue, not like you know, or maybe like a hue or like an intermediate hue. But not too technical, because I'm gonna choose saturated purple. We did purple last time. Last time was purple. I know you don't know what this is for. Maybe you don't. It's for the background. It's for the... Ooh, purple, emerald, maroon. Okay, gold. I like gold. Gold's a tricky one. Okay, seconding gold. Gold is tricky, and I'll try gold. The reason gold is tricky is because gold is kind of like a yellow-orange, but I'm not looking for a super bright color. I'm looking for a very watered-down color. So once you do that, it doesn't become gold anymore. right? So I'm kind of looking for a background color, but we can do that. We can go with gold, or just like an orangey yellow, right? We can do that. Let's just pick this color. It's not quite, you would never look at this color and be like, that's gold, but it's a tricky, it's kind of like brown, right? Brown is like, how do you make, I mean, I guess you could do like a really light brown, right? But it's, your brain is going to be like, oh, that's tan, you know? You're not going to say that's, whereas if you do like light blue, you're still like, yep, that's blue, you know? Or purple is still pretty purpley, although not, yeah. But anyway. So that's a thing. That's a kind of, not a super flattering color, but we can work with it. Rusty, then? Maybe more rusty? Yeah, maybe we'll do more orangey. Yeah, maybe that. More orange? That works. That's probably a more flattering color. Maybe we'll go a little bit more saturated. I mean, we can go a little saturated, but not too. Right? I just don't want to be up in, like, here. This saturates. This is too much. Or, this is too much. Because then it's going to, like, ruin my eye. Not literally ruin them, but it's going to make it hard for me to paint with colors, because all of, like, what color I'm looking at is going to be shifted. It's kind of like if I were to start here and I put down this color, my brain might say, oh, that's kind of like it's a cool blue. It's almost blue, but it's not quite. It's like obviously very gray blue, but it's like it's not even in the blue at all. It's still in the orange, right? And this is like, yeah, you get what I'm saying? Color relativity. And that's what I'm afraid of if I go too saturated. I mean, it's still gonna happen, but yeah. Anyway, Commissar Skull, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. All right, so my plan. Let's do the ledge plan that I had, right? With the character sitting, maybe they're sitting downward. I don't know. Does this look like a character on a ledge? Not really. Feet down. Maybe they're kicking their feet off. They look like an Amogus kinda, don't they? They look like an Amogus with weird droopy legs. They weren't supposed to. And then we have like, wait a second. Wait a second. Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. That is a good wait a second. How's it going? What do you mean, wait a second? What are we waiting a second for? That I was drawing with lines? For shame. Mungus. Yep, exactly. It kind of looked like that. Are you sketching? Yeah, I started with a little gesture for a character. Not really sketching. I'm gonna go into blobs. Just something so I can start putting, like, because I wanted to have some sort of like character interacting with an environment, and figuring out either I need to have the pose. Whoops! I either need to have the pose first. What did I just do? Or I need to have the environment type figured out, because then I can plan how the character's going to interact with it. Like, because if it's just the character standing in the middle of nowhere, who cares? As long as it works compositionally, like, I can just put a character standing nearly anywhere, right? Like, here's a character. Here's a character. Maybe I want a character up here. I could put one up there, right? But for what I'm doing today, right, all these could be characters. But what I'm going to do today is I want them to be interacting with the environment a little bit more. And so I feel like I either need, like, I want to plan them into the composition, right? So they either need to be, like, in a spot in the painting that matters, like, you know, on a nice third, you know, compositionally kind of in focus. So that's why I started out with them. Or I need to plan my environment in a way where I can still just plop them in there and it'll still work. So, like, there's some planning that needs to happen, in my opinion, if you're gonna do that. Like, I don't have to keep them here. But, like, for example, if I do that, now it's not I'm not sure how I like that, because now the eye line's right in the middle. So maybe we want to move this up. You're so proud. I'm glad you're proud of me. Happy to make you proud. Okay, and we're gonna move this up a little bit. Any particular inspiration? Basically, the only inspiration was just looking back at a lot of my old work and saying, what do I not do? And it was that. It was adding characters in there in a way that interact. So I don't really care what environments I make. Whether it's a city or a jungle, just a bunch of random rocks or whatever. It doesn't really... I don't really care. But I want there to be enough of a story so that, like... character jumping over a fallen tree, character sitting on a giant rock ledge looking down. But, like, that stuff is going to be the start, so maybe they're sitting on top of a giant building looking down, and it's really tall, and so maybe the perspectives will reflect that, right? So maybe I'll be doing a lot of... Don't typically do this, so it's nice to freshen up. That's kind of what the theme of my stream is. Like, every stream I've kind of done the stuff I've done before. It's not totally new, but it's new enough. So yeah. But things like color here, I haven't figured out in the least. Not really sure what I'm doing. So I'm still kind of just playing. Like, I'll probably get rid of the character here at some point, once I kind of figure out what it is I want to paint. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't really figured it out yet. It's just the starting point. It's hard to articulate that. Like, sometimes I start with a color. Oh, the stream went off. I think that's a you problem. I think I'm still live. Pretty sure I'm still live. Is anyone else here? Yeah, same for you. Uh-oh. Oh, it's a me problem. It cut for a second. Huh. Like visually, what did it do? What did that do? Did it go black? Camp, you said you're back. Okay. Looks it freeze and went off. What do you mean? I don't know what went off means. Like, did it visually what happened? Yeah, that sucks though. I don't know why. It doesn't show anything on my end. Weird. Maybe it's a Twitch thing. Yeah, maybe Silksong is breaking Twitch. The stream turned off. First froze. Huh. Okay, interesting. Strange. Well, if it does it again, I apologize. I'll have to investigate. Time Dragon, hello! I am using OBS, yep. I am using OBS. I think it's working weird today. OBS is working weird? Yeah, I don't know. Everything looks normal on my end. No frames dropped. Steady kilobit, steady bit rate. Everything's good. But yeah, it could be. I don't know. But so long as it's working now, I'm gonna run with it. And yeah, we'll just keep chugging along. Twitch couldn't hold the art awesomeness. That must be it, Linuxo. But yeah, is anybody gonna play Silksong? Speaking of Silksong. Alright, so right now, I am not quite sure what I want to do with this. What if we do a scene... Hold on, let's do another one. Maybe wacky perspective. I don't know how well these will work together. I don't know what this brutalism yet. Well, I haven't decided yet. I'm less worried about what it is I'm drawing and more some of the yeah, I'm not quite sure yet. Sort of trying to figure out, maybe drawing it from a weird perspective. Just something that gives me a little bit more to work with. That's basically what I'm looking for. And works. Have fun. I'm off to a friend's house. I'll leave the stream open, my friend. Aw, thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, and thanks for letting me know the stream went haywire earlier. That's weird. Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't do that again. There. This is now we're getting somewhere. Now we're cooking, as somebody might say. Somebody might say that. I guess I said it. I said it. We're now cooking. Like a little crevice or a little area in here that sort of, it is going well today. I'm gonna draw some currently playing it nice. How is it? I don't know anything about Silksong other than its Hollow Knight sequel. It doesn't tell me much because I don't know much about Hollow Knight. Taking a break to say hi. Well, glad you're popping in. Hope you're doing well. I have a big plan today. My plan is to draw scenes and then put characters in them, like sitting or jumping or doing. Obviously, I think it's pretty well established that the game's going to be good. But what if the game was just terrible? That would suck. I would feel bad because there's so much hype around it. The levels and environment design and art is so nice. Soundtrack is amazing. Gameplay is solid. Oh, that's good. Okay, let's slap in some color dodge. But yeah, I want to do some. I've been playing a lot of Path of Exile lately, and I actually feel the same. Is the level design and art is so gorgeous. There's so many new environments that are just beautiful. I really have been having fun when I'm not dying. No, I only died once, but you know, given that PoE 2's design is insane. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Given that I'm playing hardcore solo Stealthbound, though, when I do die, it set me back like a good 8 hours. But I haven't died again. But no, I've now made it through the new act. So I've made it through Act 4. I'm not quite in the maps yet, but I am chugging along, and I'm basically through all the major new content. There's technically like an interlude where there's like these 3 mini acts, if you want to call them that. I think I don't even quite know how they're set up, and that kind of bridges the gap between the end of the officially released campaign and the end game. And so there's kind of like 10 levels of gameplay in new areas that are kind of rehashes of old areas. But as far as all the new stuff, I've basically played through now, and it's been a lot of fun. Yeah, really cool stuff. You watch a friend play, and the Caravan Town blew my mind. Yeah, the Caravan Town is pretty crazy. That one came out originally but I'll have to look up screenshots and stuff because I don't really plan on playing it. I'm not really into it. I tried to play the original Hollow Knight, and it wasn't. I don't know. It didn't really stick for me. I gave it a good try though. Maybe I'll have to try it again. Because I do bet I could get into it. I think it's more of like I'm just bad at it. Also, what am I doing here? What am I drawing? I don't know. Let's plop in a character. Maybe this is extended upward. I don't know. Let's just keep moving colors. But yeah, Toby Set Go, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Maybe like a giant canal or something. And maybe on the edge of the canal there's like buildings sticking out. That could be fun. Giant buildings here. Doing okay now that you're streaming? Glad to be the reason you're doing okay. I appreciate you popping in. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on in this area, but I kind of like it. I feel like we can get some light coming in here. This is very strange. I'm not exactly sure what I'm painting, but I feel like we can definitely turn it into something. Maybe buildings. Maybe I'm trying to figure out what I want to do back here. Maybe there's some. Maybe in the shadows down here, there's some blue. It's kind of like a channel or something. I don't know. This is a very weird piece for me. I'm not quite sure what I'm doing with it. But it is nice. I actually like this setup. It's just kind of weird because it's very central composition, which makes it hard to figure out what I want to do. Like, where do I want to put the character? Because I decided that I wanted to put characters in here. Maybe there's characters span. I mean, I don't know. Now what's the scale, right? If a character's sitting here, but the scale's kind of large, right? Okay, maybe I do this. Maybe I take this, because this could turn into a fun city or something. Maybe I take this whole painting, merge that, and then do like a weird crop. Maybe I'll do like... maybe like that? Is that... I mean, that is a weird crop, but it kind of works. And then we have like a character... sitting here, like fishing or something. I don't know. Maybe they're sitting on the ledge, eating a sandwich. They've got a lunchbox here. Maybe this person's head needs to be more here. I don't know. I'm not quite sure what I'm doing. Something like that could be fun. Also, if this person is like that, this leg should be further out. I think. No, the other way. Maybe the head's more this way, looking inward. That way they're looking this way. There. Now we can, again, we can put some shadows in here. Actually, no, shadows should come this way. There. Something like that, maybe. Character sitting on a ledge, kicking their feet. Maybe there's fish or something swimming down. I don't know. I'm not quite sure what's going on. But again, this could be like... So one of the things that's fun with this is, without ruining this too much, is that this shape could be a tree, right? It could be like, this could be a fallen over tree. You know, now that we have some sort of structure to it, you know, this character could be sitting up here on a tree branch. There could be like a river underneath. You know, maybe they're just hanging out up here. Maybe, you know, maybe something like this, and out of this wall there's a whole bunch of things, and this character is sitting on one of them. you know? And so that's sometimes I use like the structure that I've set up for myself once I've set it up to figure out what it is I'm gonna paint and how I'm gonna paint it. Obviously this character can, maybe they're a rogue or something, maybe they're like a ranger or a druid and they're just hanging out. So let's put some light in here. I think where might the light be? Maybe there's lots of shadow underneath these, but then there's lots of light up top. I don't know. That's something. What about down below? Do we go lighter, I wonder? Also, here's a piece used a while back. Let's take a look. Oh, beautiful. I remember this. Don't I remember this? Or did I see this? I think I saw this one. That was good. Yeah, I liked it. The crown. Yeah, very, very nice. Wonderful. I like the image you made, Toby. Beautiful. That always catches me off guard to see pictures like that. It's like a little jump scare in a way. Perfection. Yeah. I thought Observer would like it. I feel like that's totally up Observer's alley in terms of taste and vibe. It's just good old goofiness. Observer, do you think of yourself as like a goofy person? I feel like you have a good goofy, not like a bad goofy. I feel like you have a good goofiness to you. I don't know. Maybe that's not right. Also, hope you're doing well, Observer. Yeah, okay. That's good. Something of a character designer myself. The very nice character design. Something of a character designer. Just a bit. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with this, and I'm playing around with colors. Like, does this... I think we need more of a background. Maybe more shapes back here. I don't know if this is gonna read well, but like they're like on a cliff or something, and it's like it's expanding over here. Something like that. Again, I don't quite know if it's gonna read very well. I will say maybe I'm gonna start this one out. No, if this is on the ledge, maybe there's lots of vines and stuff. And we go like add greenery. I don't know. Thank you for the follow. Hope you're doing well. Okay, maybe we want to fix this character to make them kind of look like a character. Or maybe they're not sitting. Maybe they're like standing and looking down, and their arm is like. Ooh, maybe they're like reaching onto something and like they're looking. Ooh, I have an idea. So I might struggle with the characters here a little because I'm doing gesture and stuff like with little blobs. It's tough for me. But like, what if they are inching towards like, they have like their arm extended holding on to something. Obviously this is very, and they have like a foot back here. They don't want to, they're looking over kind of, not quite like that because this is a silly shape, but you know what I mean? Like they're looking over the ledge, but they have like one arm extended holding onto a branch, Obviously, I'm not going to do it cartoony like that, probably, but, I mean, I could. And then right here is where the light can hit, so you can get light right here, so that they can have this nice silhouette. Although if they're doing that, they should probably be closer to the edge, right? Just from like a design perspective, having them closer to the area where they're holding on to. Um, but see, I don't want them just standing. That's none of that. We're gonna design it. The reason I'm making this top-down perspective a little bit is so that I can have a character interacting with the environment, like looking down and looking afraid or something. I don't know. And I don't know how to do characters very well, so I'm kind of just gonna make this up with gesture, I guess. Yeah, I mean, we could have a character, like, holding onto a branch. Draw Batman. We could draw Batman. Amazing. Wearing Catwoman's outfit. I genuinely don't know what the difference between their two outfits are. Maybe a small kid balancing. Yeah, something like that. On the balancing branch. Walking on the branch. Very bad parenting. Yeah, I'm okay with bad parenting in my art. There was I was listening to a you guys probably know it, but it's a podcast called 3 Point Perspective. Our fellow streamer Anthony Wheeler is one of the occasional people, so if you guys know his stream, he's really great. But anyway, I was listening to that, and one of their episodes was about like drawing the art you want to make versus drawing the art for thinking about your audience versus like your peers, right? So like if you are in children's book, thinking about drawing books for children, not for, publishers or even your peers, right? You're not just doing stuff to impress them, but like you need to remember that like children are your audience or maybe parents of children. But like either way, it's easy. Sometimes I think it's easy to forget. And one of those was like, a lot of times people will like over sort of censor with like, oh, the kid, where's the kid's parents? Or like, oh, they need to be wearing a helmet. And like, that's not that important. Like, probably not. You can just have a fun story for a story's sake. It doesn't have to be teachy. It doesn't have to have a lesson always. Like, sometimes you can just draw fun stuff because it would be fun, And that's kind of, I want to keep that in mind. So yeah, I think like having children doing dangerous things in art is totally okay. I don't think it's gonna like to any large, especially in like if you have a small audience, right? Like it's not gonna go encourage kids to be dangerous because they saw, somebody flying in outer space without a helmet. Like that's not, it's not gonna, it's not bad in my opinion. But that's like a whole topic in art, and I think it's kind of an interesting one. Like, what is the artist's responsibility especially when they have an audience of like being a good influence? Like, I think it's tricky because I actually think about that a lot with streaming as well. Like, if I had 1 million people watching me right now, there would be more pressure on me, in my opinion, to say things thoughtfully or be a good role model because people would be influenced whether or not I want them to, right? And so I think when you're telling stories that potentially are going to see lots of people, you do want to be a good influence. And so it's tricky because, like, on one hand, you want to say, yeah, well, I'm just a person making stuff, and if you take the wrong message from it, that's on you. But like, the reality is people will. So doesn't that put some sort of, I don't know. That's very philosophical, but surely it puts some sort of moral, weight on you. Or I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird question. Anyway, I'm gonna drink some tea. But yeah, as far as my art goes, I'm okay with kids standing on ledges and balancing and walking, doing precarious things. Or it could just be a full-grown person. I don't really know. I'm trying to figure out how might Maybe something like that. I can't imagine how much pressure it must be to have a large audience, especially of young people. I mean, some people just don't care and they will just say and do anything, and because maybe it's just a question they've never considered. I don't know. I think a lot of times, by the time that you've thought about the question, it's like too late, and then you're already in deep because you've already made content of a certain kind, or you've already done a thing, and now it's like, well, I can't change what I do. Like, and should you have to change what you do just because suddenly people are seeing you? It's tricky. I mean, we talk about this sometimes, right? With even just like social media for like smaller artists, or small time social media people. Like, I would put myself in there. I don't have a lot of social media following, but at the same time, even then, it's hard to like switch what you're doing, because people who have followed you for a reason. And so when you slowly, incrementally grow an audience, or maybe very quickly, it's like, well, crap. Like, now am I required to just change what I'm doing? And I don't know about required, but it's definitely something you should think about, right? Like, if you are genuinely making the world a worse place because you're doing terrible things, then maybe you shouldn't. I don't know. It's tricky. I think being online adds a lot of weird moral things to think about. It could be a cat. We could put a cat walking on the ledge. No, I think we'll put a character. Okay. I'm stumbling with my gesture because I don't know how to do it. A little bit arched. Arm. Actually like that with their arm being... something like that, maybe? Also, young people getting large audiences through streaming or TikTok or whatever, scary stuff. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's a really. I don't want to. Obviously, I'm not in this situation really, so it's. I mean, I think everybody to some degree who spends time online is in this situation to some degree. The things you put online could influence someone. It could just be a random comment, and it could influence someone. And I think there's a lot of, at the small end of things, I think there's a lot of, it's very easy for you to say, well, if someone does someone reads something I say and bases their life on it or makes a decision using that as like their main data point, like that's on them, right? If I gave some random sloppy art advice online and you're a young artist and you read that art advice and you decide to quit your day job, or maybe you decide not to pursue art or whatever, right? Maybe I say something stupid and I somehow that encourages you to quit art forever. Like, it's tricky, right? Like, the things I say could have an effect. It doesn't mean I have to like be super vigilant about everything I say, but once you start dialing that up and there's lots of people, it could just be some hot take about a political figure or, anything. It's tricky. I don't know. I think it's a really fascinating topic. Because, yeah, like you said, there's also, like, pressures to do things. So suddenly you have pressure to say, things that are good. But you also have the pressure to, like, make good content. Because that's kind of what got you there. And you want to maintain that, probably. Because, you can't just, like... well, I'm famous now, let me just make a bunch of garbage that no one's gonna like anymore because now I have to be responsible. Like, no one wants to do that either. So you have to balance those things, and then you also have to balance, like, the external pressure, like the audience capture stuff, which is, like, the type of people who view the stuff that you put out wants more and maybe extreme versions of the stuff that you're doing, which is pushing you in a direction that maybe you don't want to go. But maybe you think it's the most profitable or And so you have all these different pressures, and like trying to balance that and not get sort of lost in the weeds. I don't know, it's tricky, I think. Luckily I don't feel like I'm there, but yeah, I mean it's a both and situation, right? Where it's like obviously the streamer or the YouTuber has some responsibility. But yeah, in a perfect world, so would the parents and the people watching would be watching it with a critical eye. But I think there is this fact that like I can't change that, right? If you're the YouTuber, you can't change that people are just going to take what you say at face value. And so because of that, and because you know that, do you now have a responsibility to not just say dumb stuff that people will take at face value? Like, I genuinely don't know the answer. Like, it's one of those things where, like, I will do my best, but if other people don't do that, I'm not sure I would hold them accountable, right? Like, I'm not really gonna hold... I mean, maybe to some degree, right? Like, if it's a big streamer, I will hold them accountable for what they say and do on stream. But, like, if it's like I don't know. But it's tricky. This topic, in part, the reason I'm talking about it is because it was also a recent thing that popped up. One on this podcast I'm listening to, but also just in, like, video game communities. Even in Path of Exile, you know, there's a lot of people who haven't played Path of Exile 2, or who maybe want to play it, and then you get like a free weekend like we just had, and you have a lot of these big streamers who you know, they like the game, or they want to like the game, and maybe they encounter bugs, and maybe they are, you know, and they get frustrated and they start like trash talking the game. Oh, this game is garbage, and like, but it's not. But like, that has a real effect when you're the biggest streamer of a game on Twitch and you're actively saying how terrible the game is. Maybe all those people on the fence of like, should I play the game or should I not buy it? Or, you know, should I play it or not? Maybe those people lean now towards not playing it because you've had an outburst when you died and got frustrated, you know? Like, that stuff is like, it could have an effect. And I don't know whose responsibility it is. It's like, I wouldn't want to be the streamer who is causing people not to do something simply because I didn't word my criticism properly and it came out as anger or something. Like, I don't know. It's tricky. It's not I realize this has very little to do with art now, but I guess it does kind of have something to do with art, which is, if you're going to offer criticism, do it in a way where the people can understand that you know, whether, like, if you like a thing, you can still say you like a thing, rather than just saying what's wrong with it, right? It's not just saying, oh, this sucks, you know, but it's saying, hey, I really like where you're going, do not quit, but also, it might be worth starting over, right? Like sometimes you want to offer the hard-hitting criticisms, but also... Okay, let me find a character, like, creeping towards something, like... Like a character walking slowly towards, like, a... I don't even know how to do this. I don't know how to draw characters. Hold on, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna pause off my webcam for a moment, and I'm going to stand up, and I'm gonna imitate this pose because I want to feel like where my weight is. I've got it. Weight is over the front foot. That was my confusion. I wasn't sure where the weight is. Okay, if you're leaning forward, the weight is over your front foot. Okay, I'm back. I had to, like, stand up and get in the pose because I'm like, how is this? And then there, probably not. You're so real for that. I didn't want to do it on camera though. No, I think it's good though. I think it's good to do that. Like if you don't know how, I mean, look, this is the same thing with like drawing hands, right? Like if you don't know how to draw hands, look at them. Like they're right there. Take a camera and like do the hand pose, and then like you have hands, right? Like if you don't know how anatomy works, take a photo. Like I don't know, do the pose, see what it feels like. Figure, I don't know. It's not, it still doesn't make it easy, but there kind of is no excuse, right? Like, I don't know. Am I weird? You were laid off from your previous company, which is a mobile game studio. I have many ridiculous photos where yeah, right? Like, why wouldn't you? Come on. Like, if you didn't, I feel like if you are someone who's doing a lot of character stuff in poses and you don't have a lot of weird poses of yourself, what are you even doing? Like, are you... I mean, obviously I'm joking, right? I don't... I'm sure there are ways to do it. Also, how would the arm be? I guess... I actually don't know how this arm would be, but I'm gonna just fudge it for now. I'll figure it out later. Preach. I mean, it might be something, though, that some people haven't really considered. Also, I have no idea. Yeah, I don't know what this arm's doing. This arm's not too bad. It could be bracing themselves. And I realize there's not a lot of light here, so we can probably put in some rim light if we want. I don't know what that arm's doing. I'm still confused, but anyway. There. There's a... Oh, that works. There's that shadow I needed. Anyway. There's their character, their look, they're creeping, they're afraid, but they're going down. There. Maybe we make this stuff taller as well. Maybe there's things. When there were animators had a camera and mirrors and they would do funny poses all the time. Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things where I think that's like the difference between like, you know, commercial art and not, I mean, maybe it's not, but I think it's, yeah, you don't see a lot of that, and I wish you saw more. Actually, speaking of which, I know this isn't quite the same, but one of my favorite artists is Ryan Pancoast, and he does, he doesn't actually show you his references that like he's taking of himself, but he kind of does in that he will sort of do a reference, like he does like a fake reference pose with his final work to like, it's like I know he does do reference poses for his own work, but that's not the stuff he's showing. Here, let me show you. That's Instagram. He's been doing a lot of Spider-Man art for Magic the Gathering lately. I know it's weird to say Magic the Gathering and Spider-Man the same sentence, but here we are. They're using Spider-Man IP in Magic the Gathering. Let me just find Ryan Pancoast art. Okay. Check out this stuff. I just find it amazing and hilarious. It is... I just find it good fun. Okay, so Ryan Pancoast, he's been doing a lot of like Spider-Man art for Magic the Gathering, and then he'll have a pose with like him in a Spider-Man costume posing with his art. And then he has like another one here, and he'll be, you know, here's, I mean, obviously this is not the same, but like here's him in Spider-Man eating a hot dog. So like he always poses Sometimes it's related to the thing he's doing. So let's go. Does this one have one? I don't know. Oh yeah, here's Spider-Man, him with a backpack. Um, yeah, I mean it's not a real like. Obviously, I'm sure he has actual references of him in those poses, but um, his art's amazing. But a lot of times he'll just pose as the character. Like here's this weird character thing, this construct thing holding like an orb above its head, and here he is, posing with his orb, and just like he's in a full like not real cosplay, but like fake. Anyway, I just find it great. Again, not the real references because obviously he probably did this. He took this after the painting was finished because he's in the same photo as it. Um, but that's kind of like that kind of thing. This is like a silly take on like posting your own reference photos. Obviously, this is just for, presentation because it's fun. But like my hunch is that he actually did have a lot of this stuff for the reference that he like the Spider-Man costume. I bet he had a Spider-Man costume. And I bet you he got into the pose as close as he could for these things. Now, this obviously isn't that photo, but anyway, I find it great. He's amazing. He's one of my favorite artists, and yeah. Well, he's one of my favorite artists because of the way he posts his work. It's so silly. I love it. Yeah, it's great. I love it too. It's just like, it's a good reminder to have fun and, be silly. Yeah, he does traditional work. He's amazing. I don't know, but I think he does like digital mock-ups first. I think he does a lot of his planning digitally, but I don't actually know. I know a lot of artists who work traditionally with like illustrative stuff do a lot of mock-up traditional, which is just to save time in the planning stages. Maybe this could be a little more blue. I don't know if that's gonna look good, but yeah. Like if I were to do this traditionally, like I could then copy this image, over to traditional, and I think I could do a pretty good job of it. I don't really want to. I like just painting in digital, but if I was doing Magic the Gathering work, I would totally do traditional, at least at some point. Maybe my first couple cards would stay digitally, but I would absolutely eventually do traditional, just because there's a secondary market, and I don't know. I think there's something about it. Alex Ross does the same thing, not as silly as that, but well, yeah. I mean that, like I say, those weren't the real reference photos, obviously, but it's sort of like in that spirit of posting goofy reference photos. Like there was a whole trend where people would share their reference photos, and it's good. Like it's one of those things where it's really hard if you're like if you have a big following on social media and people have followed you for one thing, it's hard to share that stuff, even though people like it. I think, almost objectively people enjoy seeing that work, where like your own reference photos, but it's really hard to post it because it's like that weird messy stage of the process where you don't know what you're doing, you look a little stupid, and like, it I don't know, it's hard. It's a hard thing to share sometimes. But yeah, I think people like it. Anyway. I would like to request alert command. I thought I had one. I have alert command. Is my bot not working? I think my bot's not working. Let me go to the dashboard. Let me turn the bot on and off again. I definitely have alert command. Oh, don't mind me as my screen goes dark for a moment. Cloudbot. Oh, that would do it. It was turned off. Alright, it should be on now. There we go. Lurk command engaged. It's not a very sophisticated lurk command, but it'll do. I don't know if I like that blue in there. Anyway, if this character can have dark hair. Maybe they have orangey, reddish skin. Maybe they're wearing shorts. I don't want to actually render them, but I will. Something like that. Okay, the character's proportions are weird, but that's okay. I don't know how to draw people. I say that, but I can draw people. I just... not a thing I typically do. Anyway, that's something. Maybe this has some light back here. Or blue back here. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, there's a character doing a thing. Okay, next painting. So, yeah, I'm probably not going to have that many. Also, like, yeah, maybe here's a character sitting. Maybe this one's just looking down. This one's a little bit more... Maybe there's, like, buildings over here. That could be fun. Buildings here that extend downward. Maybe a little bit of light across here. Hello! Hello, hello, unknown Andy. How's it going? Hope you're doing well today. Yeah, we are doing some scenes. I don't know how well they're gonna read because it's a little new for me, but some scenes with characters kind of engaged in the environment, you know, sitting on things, standing on stuff, looking down, like, you know, aware of their surroundings beyond just like characters standing in a vast open space. And so I'm having fun with it. I don't know how it's gonna go. Don't know about what's happening here either. Got a lot of bleep loop sounds in this music. Anyway. Can I have a suggestion for the character in this piece? Sure. What's the suggestion? I mean, you're allowed to make a suggestion. Whether or not I follow it is another story. I don't know. I wanted to ask since last time, but I forgot. How long do you usually take for a print to arrive? Oh, let's see. It shouldn't take too long. It depends on when I send it. Let's see. You've redeemed something, right? I haven't sent it out yet, if you have. I don't think. I still have a whole bunch of... There was a day when a whole bunch of people redeemed stuff, and I haven't sent them out. I don't know how long ago it was. It feels like it was only like a week ago, but it might have been 2 weeks. Oh gosh, it was 17 days ago. Okay, so... Yeah, 17 days ago, you redeemed Leafy Dragon, and another print, which I don't remember which one, but there was at least 2 of them. And then Rowan the Roo got 4 prints, Charizard got a print, and yeah. So and Karmasar Skull got one too. So I'm a little bit behind on sending out prints, but that is fine. I want to know the jellyfish. Gotcha. I think I have it written down, actually. Yeah. Butterfly / jellyfish, unknown Andy. And maybe Leafy Dragon. So yeah, that one. What's this? Oh, like character walking? That could be fun. I've won a print? No, you've redeemed one. Like 2 weeks ago. You didn't win a print. You redeemed a print. Didn't you? Am I confused? I think you did. Let me double check. Oh, no you didn't. Never mind. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Nope, you didn't. That was pick a color for a thumbnail. That made it into the queue somehow. Yeah, nope, just kidding. But yeah, Charizard also didn't win one. That's pick a color for a thumbnail. So just Rowan, unknown Andy, it looks like. Anyway, I gotta send those out still. So yeah, I have to send out some prints. Sorry, Commissar. I got confused. Oh, yes, correct. The jellyfish and the leafy dragon, yes. I don't know why that's not written down. Let me write this down properly. I have butterfly / jellyfish, so not butterfly, it's leafy dragon. There we go. Yeah, I have it right there, just like I have to send them out. But anyway, sorry about it taking so long. It's one of those things where I don't typically do that super often, and then sometimes, I don't know, it's very easy to forget about it. Like, I keep telling myself, like, oh, I need to do it here one of these days, and then like a week passes, and it doesn't feel like any time has passed. But anyway, it will happen. I will send them out. It's still in the queue, so it will never leave the queue until I do it, so at that point, you know, it will happen eventually. But if you happen to, like, move locations or something and want it sent to a new spot before I actually send it out, let me know, because, you know, if it takes so long that, like, you move. I know sometimes that happens with, like, loving the thumbnails today. Thanks. They were a little, I'm taking a little while. It's been an hour and we've only done 2 of them. Because, yeah, I like the idea, though. That was fun with the character, like, you know, walking down here, kinda. And then you have another character here. They're, like, trying to go across. That is kind of fun. And that could be fun. Yeah, no, I appreciate you bringing it up, though, because I kind of forgot about them. I mean, not completely. Like, again, I kind of think that it crosses my mind every couple days, and then I'm like, but I'll always, like, be at work, or I'll always be, like, away, and I'll be tired. I'll be like going to bed, and I'm like, oh, I should do prints soon. And then I forget, because, like, then I go to bed, and I wake up, and then I do my stuff. And then it's a very easy thing to kick down the road, because it's like, it feels very busy work and managerial. Like, oh, let me package up and send out prints. Like, I like to send them out in the sense that I like to offer that, but it does, like, it's never like a thing that I'm like, oh, I'm so excited to send out prints, you know? So I'm not complaining, but at the same time, it's not my favorite thing to do. I remember when I had started sending out prints, though, it was always like, it was actually exciting because I had never really done that before. I was still figuring it out. But now that I've been doing it for a while, yeah, it's just not as much fun. Okay, what do I want to do here? I mean, now I'm just gonna make some shapes. I don't know if all of my paintings today will have characters in them. Ooh, maybe there's like a character on with like in a waterfall and they have like an umbrella. That's not how umbrellas work. Hold on. I mean, this is kind of just a character standing here. But not really. Because they still have, like, a pose, right? Like, with an arm. Little blob there. They're standing in... I don't know what this big shape is, but they're standing in front of a waterfall. That one's not very... This is not a very exciting image so far, but that's okay. I kind of want to make the waterfall have, like, tiers. I really like tiered waterfalls. So, like, you know, water coming down this way. Maybe some from here. Also, what's going on with the lighting? Why is it so dark? Maybe the whole ground plane can be like this. That could be a thing. I downloaded the brush set, but I didn't see the brushes you use all the time. Oh, this one? Yeah, this brush is... But here, this one's not been updated. Sorry, another managerial thing I haven't done. This brush is by Zach Retz. The brush that I'm using right now is a Zach Retz brush. It's not my brush, so I haven't put it in my brush pack or anything. Here, you know what? Let me update. Don't mind me as I'm just picking my nose. Not really, but it kind of looked like it. Let me update the commands, brushes. I also use brushes from Zach Retz, and then his... Let's just Google Zach Retz Gumroad. I think his brushes are for free there. Photoshop version 1, I probably... Maybe not. Let's do Zach Retz Clip Studio Paint. Does he use Clip Studio brushes? Nope. I just think it's this. Okay. Maybe it wasn't a Clip Studio brush specifically. But anyway. And you can name $0 for this, so it's a free brush. Let me just change the command real quick. Okay, that should work. So now if I type in... I think it was originally made by Zedig. Oh, is it? Oh, I didn't know that. But anyway, that's where I got it from. So there's that should work. Zedig or Alexander de Boyne. De Boyne? I don't know. I don't think I know either of those. Gosh, I'm bad at knowing my artist names. Hold on. I probably will recognize their work. Also, hey, Brent. Hope you're doing well. Oh, I think I know this person. I've seen this person's work. Oh, and he streams sometimes. I didn't know that. His are for Photoshop, though. Yeah, Zach Retz's are for Photoshop, too. But yeah, you can just import them straight into Clip Studio, because Clip Studio has, like, backwards compatibility with other programs' brushes, which I actually really like about it. It's kind of, like, because they kind of joined the scene a little late, and so they were like, well, we have to get people to use our program, so, like, we need to make it so that people coming from Photoshop can use their favorite tools. And so they allow you to just literally drag and drop your brushes in. And it does a pretty good job of figuring out how it's made, what it is, and all the settings, and it tries to preserve them the best it can. Sometimes it's a little funky because it's not perfect, because it obviously has to import them into Clip Studio settings, which is a different engine. So it does a little bit of figuring it out, but it does a pretty good job. And like, it maintained the dual brush setting, because it's a dual brush, right? If you paint, like, it has a texture, but you can also see it like smooth it out as you go over it. And it has like that dual brush setting there, which is really cool. It's a really cool feature to have like that smoothness, so you can get this like buttery smooth look, but also there's texture if you were just to stamp it down. And so yeah, anyway, it's a very cool brush. Okay, I'm just making shapes here. Classic umbrella dude standing in the distance. But yeah, hope you're doing well, Brent. Hope the day is good. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing that one. I like this painting, though. This one's fun. Little character looking out over a ledge. What if I did something similar, but, like, more alien? I don't know. Let's start with black and white. We're gonna go into grayscale mode here. I am now in grayscale. Something like that, maybe? I mean, I know I do this stuff quite a bit. Oh, what's happening? We're getting raided! Grayscale raid. Darjack, welcome in! Welcome in, raiders, how are you? How is your stream? What were you doing? I'll give myself some color here for a moment. Also, I feel like my camera is... There. I've moved myself slightly more centered. But yeah, Artjack, how are you? Pretty good day, says Brent, but a deadline day and the girls are headed home. Good but stressful. Gotcha. Deadline days can always be stressful. When it's on your deadline days, do you feel like you're typically working up straight up until the deadline, or do you generally like give yourself a buffer where like you're already done, but now it's just a matter of like making sure everything is packaged up and sent out properly? Is that kind of the idea? So like it's more like final edits, once over, double checking, proofreading, you know, that kind of thing. I'm always curious how people work around deadlines. Some people are like literal procrastinators, and it's like send it out, and hardly it's finished. It's hardly. Hey, I was just working on commissions again. Nice. Hope they're going well. Monomon, it's nice to have raiders without any pillaging. Are you referring to a lack of a raid call? But no, I think not having a raid call is fine, if that's what you're saying. Pillaging in this economy? I mean, what do you mean? What other option do you have? Let's do something like this, but we bring in big shapes that go every which way. What you were working on. You actually try to get your work done before deadlines, but at minimum, I'm giving it night to sit before final submission. That's what I do. I always try to get it done well in advance, but then I kind of do this like in limbo mode where like I'm sort of panicky because like it's done, but I don't want to send it out too early. Especially, I mean, typically it depends on what it is, right? Sometimes you just can't finish early. But if I do finish early, I don't want to send it out too early, but like also it shouldn't matter. I don't know. It kind of depends on what it is, what it's for. But like you obviously, I don't know. It's tricky for me. I fell under pressure. Sometimes I need an extra boost, so a deadline approaching is actually kind of nice. I don't know. It kind of depends for me. It's never the same. You always feel like we're under an X-ray for work time, huh? I don't know about that. I don't quite know what you mean by that. Like, I like a deadline. It makes me... It's an extra motivator, for sure. But I don't like to send stuff out immediately when I'm done. I like it to kind of be able to stew. But then so long as I haven't submitted it as, like, a final, it's sort of taking up mental space. And it's like, it's hard for me to, like, relax, kind of, if that makes sense. I find it hard to relax when there's work to be done or potentially be done. And so part of me wants to just like send it out. I like this. I like this painting a lot already. There. That's a nice little thumbnail. Very alien vibes. Maybe this one has... And the same, you can't work without some degree of pressure. Yeah, I like it a little bit. It's sort of... I mean, there are some days where like you're just super excited about working on a thing, but then for the days when you're not, that's where like a deadline is like that extra, you know how when people who are like hobbyists in art, which should be everybody starting out, right? But like when you're very much a hobbyist, right? And you only make art when you feel like it, right? That's kind of how a lot of people work. But sometimes people are like, well, how do you get to that point where you're making it every day? And it's like, well, that's where deadlines really help, because whether or not you want to, you got to show up and do the work. So a deadline can just be a little bit of a boost. I don't know. I kind of like it. I like a little bit of a deadline. I don't like as long as there's like actual time to it, right? I don't like people giving you ridiculous time frames, which I haven't really. Thankfully, I haven't really had any of that. I haven't done anything super major in terms of art, like career-wise, so I haven't had like crazy high-stakes deadlines with, you know, big clients or anything really. So it hasn't been as, you know, you still want to treat every job with the, you know, the most respect you can, but there's certainly a degree of like stakes involved. If it's like for a you know, a super big thing or a dream project, I think you're probably it's gonna be different. I'm curious, you ever get clients who, wonderful as they be, leave deadlines open? That always kind of kills me. I kind of sort of have one. Oh gosh, I don't know if it's weird to talk about it because it's kind of in limbo. Yeah, I kind of have one of those, and like it was pretty clear that it was open from the start, and there's a lot of like waiting on them, sort of like, at least that's from my perspective. It's a lot of waiting on them, and it's like I don't really know what my part is anymore because I've kind of done the work that I can do. And so I'm not really sure, like I've already been paid, so I kind of don't know what's happening. And it's like, I'm kind of afraid to ask at this point, but like, at any point, like if there's something else they needed me to do, I'd be happy to do it, but it doesn't quite feel like it's over. Because it's not, again, it's not really commercial work, or at least I don't view it as commercial work. And so it's, you know, it's a little bit less professional and sort of the correspondence and how everything is going. And I feel like I've done a pretty good job about, you know, delivering in a timely fashion, doing the work that I say I'm going to do, you know, all that kind of thing. But there's still like these weird things kind of on their end, and it's like, I'm not really sure what's happening. Like, I don't know. Brent says, yeah, I think some people are more feely driven, needing to be inspired or in a good mood to paint. Others just need others just think of it like working out, just making yourself do it, even if it's in feeling to that day. Yeah, that's true, Brent. Although, I mean, ideally, right, you'd have both. Like, you'd be in the mood to do the thing, and also you're just gonna do it. I don't know. I tend to be, like, at least with some things, I tend to be also. Thank you so much, Sarah. Sorry that was delayed. Thank you very much for the sub. I really, really appreciate it. That means a lot. Thank you for the 4 months. Hope you're doing well today. Yeah, I think for me, it's like as I work on. So if I wake up and I have to work on something that day, I'm not always in the mood for it. But as I, you know, after I've spent 30 minutes, you know, I've done the work to like start, you know, I've opened up the stuff I need to open up. I've got my space ready. I've got my tea, sat down, you know, I get in the mindset of working. Sometimes it takes me like an hour to kind of get into it. And then I suddenly like inspiration, so to speak, can sort of hit. And so it's like just by sitting down and doing the work, that will get me into the mood of painting. Like I don't always start motivated. I don't have to be motivated to do it at all. Like I can force myself to do the work because it has to be done and there's maybe a deadline. But generally, once I've been working into it for a bit, then I start getting into the mood, right? I think there's an old like writing trick, which is like, you know, I don't know who came up with it, but it's the idea of like, you know, stop mid-sentence. Don't finish up a chapter and that way you don't know what you're going to do tomorrow. Always leave yourself a really obvious thing to do. And I've found that actually works very well with art. Like, don't paint until you don't know what to do anymore. Always have like a super clear, like, I'm going in and I'm that's the thing that needs to be rendered tomorrow. And like, I've already started it, but it's just a matter of doing it. Or this, you know, if you know exactly what you're gonna do on a piece, I find it's way easier to get back into it. And like sometimes with stream, I'll just kind of doodle until I don't know what to do anymore, and like that's really hard to pick one of those paintings back up because I still don't know what I'm gonna do. Obviously, that's different if it's like an illustration. But, you know, if it's an illustration for something, and it's obviously, if it's not done, it's not done, and you should probably know what you're doing. But I think sometimes it's a little tricky. Like, if you get stuck and then you end, I find those are the worst. Because then you have no motivation to get back into it, because you just have to go straight back into problem solving, right? So, like, I like to stop before I get stuck. I don't know. Those are my tips. I don't know if they're good tips or not. Everything I say, major grain of salt, all that. Sarah says it's easier to motivate yourself if you have to work for a deadline or whatever. Yeah, that's what we were talking about for sure. But yeah, Sarah, again, thank you so much for the sub. Hope you're doing well today. For hobbyists, do you have recommendations for setting your own deadlines? Not really. No. When I left school, I lost motivation. I mean, I know some people do well with like doing well. I mean, I kind of have one, which is find like contests or challenges to enter. I find things like draw this in your styles. I see a lot of people have a lot of success with that in terms of setting deadline, and that they, you know, you want to do a draw this in your style. You know, they say it ends on the 31st of this month, and now you have, you know, 25 days to do it, or 26. I didn't do math. And like, that's your deadline. It was made for you. Sometimes there's like, you know, ArtStation contests or that kind of thing. Those are really nice. As far as like deadlines on your own personal projects, I don't know. I don't know how to do that, honestly. I don't have a lot of experience with that. Maybe like birthdays and Christmas and stuff. Like, I want to make a print to give to someone for Christmas, or I want to make my Christmas card, or I want to make a birthday gift for a person, and so I need to have ordered the thing. You know, I have to have it finished by this date so that I can order by this date, and it'll arrive by this date, right? And so you can make a deadline like that, where it has to be done by Christmas. Those tend to work for me. Like, I always get my Christmas card on time, right? So that's a deadline, personal deadline. I'm trying to think other like personal projects with deadlines. I don't typically do. I mean, I don't know. I think deadlines are good for personal projects, but sometimes it's hard because one of the things with personal projects is you kind of get a meander and figure out what you're doing with it, right? Like, sometimes you just don't know what it's going to turn into, and that's kind of the beauty of having a personal project, is that you get to do that sort of more creative approach. So yeah, I don't know. It's tricky. Sarah says, I found that even when I try to make deadline schedules for my personal projects, I always get thrown off by other expected tasks, and I have to do other tasks that I have to do, or at least become higher priority. Yeah. And I guess that would also be where this is where streaming, I guess, is an example of this a little bit, where like, I wouldn't call streaming a deadline, but in terms of doing the work regardless of other like priorities, I think there's also like elevating your personal art time higher. Like saying this, instead of thinking of this as a personal project and it's for myself, and then suddenly like a parent calls you and says, hey, can you come over today and visit? And you're like, yeah, I can blow off my own personal stuff, and like, you know, I was just gonna paint for the day, it's just gonna be a relaxing day. No, if you elevate it in your mind to like, this is work. Sorry, I'm busy, right? Like, I have to get this done because I've set myself a deadline, and it's important. And I think it's tough. It's tough to treat your own like personal time as that important. I've had a really hard time doing this. I've gotten in a pretty good habit where like stream is now elevated to the point where basically nothing is going to take priority over streaming. I will schedule stuff around streaming because I have this time block, right? It's for when I can schedule, right? It's everything will work around as a personal project, right? It's sort of a, I mean, or it is a personal project, but it's a high priority project. And I think it's a tricky thing to like, I don't know if it's like self-respect or what it is, but I know some people have a really hard time with that, especially with like work. So not art for a second, but you know, like they're, you know, they're working at their day job doing, you know, whatever, maybe something in a grocery store, right? And they get called in on their day off and they're like, you know, hey, can you work today? And the person's like, well, you know, in their mind, they're like, yeah, because I'm not doing anything else, right? And then pretty soon it's like all their free time's being eaten into because other obligations that they feel like are more important, and they never give their own time that level of importance, right? It's like their time is just free time, it's empty time, it's time they're not doing anything. That to me is not how it should be, right? Your time to do valuable. And I think there's a level of respect that you have to have for your own time. And I don't know how you get there, but you know, I think it starts by like telling someone no, like, you know, you have you're, you know, it's like you know, maybe I know that tomorrow's my day off and I tell myself that I am going to play a video game all day because that's what I want to do on my day off. And then my boss calls and he says, hey, can you do this thing tomorrow? I know it's your day off, but you know, hopefully you're not too busy. And for me, that first time I told him no, that's I'm busy tomorrow. Even though I'm busy for playing video games, I'm busy. And work can't get in the way of it. And that to me helped. It helped a lot with art. It helped a lot with just thinking about it in terms of like, you know, this is important and I'm going to do it. So I think in some ways, now going back to the art side of the topic, I think if you say, I'm going to paint on this day, I'm going to do this thing, and you treat it as important, I think you're much more likely to actually finish it. And again, I don't really know how you get it from like, this is a personal project to this is a, again, maybe, you know, if you're going to make, I need to do the thing. It has to be, you know, it has to be, it has a deadline, right? It's no longer just, I don't know. It's tricky. It's not easy, I don't think. Sorry, I was rambling. Rico Waddle, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. You said you struggle to follow your own deadlines, but I have managed to make yourself a schedule where I put everything I do routinely and specific time dedicated to work on personal projects and doodle. Yeah, and I think that helps, right? Just having a slot where you can say, I'm gonna paint this or today. This is my art time. And I'm not advocating like you have to paint on a schedule all the time, but I think having that does help to actually do the work necessary to get it done, right? It's kind of impossible to kick your personal project down the road if you know you're going to be working on it for 3 days a week from this time to this time, right? Like, there's kind of a conflict, because I know some people are really against the art advice, like you have to draw every day and set a schedule for art time. And like, look, obviously if it's just a hobby, you don't have to do that, but once you want it to, you know, once you want to like actually finish things and you want to start giving yourself deadlines, that's when it becomes a little more than a hobby, right? Like, so yeah, I don't know. It's tricky. You kind of have to figure out what you want, I think. I don't know. I don't really have answers. I kind of have like more like goals, but those are what my goals would be. Yeah. Sorry if there's not good advice there though. But like, I think Stream has helped me a lot because, you know, again, I do follow Stream schedule. So that's my like sort of proof that I've done this, you know, some degree. Like I've stuck to a thing that I say I'm gonna stick to. Okay, I'm okay. Thank you for asking. I hope all is well here. I noodling and doodling, you know, doing some scenes where maybe there's like characters engaging in the thing. So like maybe here there's like a cart. I don't know. Maybe it's not a cart. Maybe we have a cart with crystals. I don't know. Maybe we just put a blobby character. I don't know. Sometimes I don't like to do that, but here's a character. I don't know how pickaxes work. Not sure about that pose, but there we go. He's resting. He's taking a break. Getting ideas and experiences. Yeah, it's one of those things that's you know, I think everybody's going to have their own different ways because everybody's going to have pretty super busy. It can be really, really hard, probably elevated to the level of like super important. Coming home for personal work. That's my advice. I don't know. Again, I don't know if that's healthy advice or not. It might be unhealthy advice, so don't, you know, take it all with a grain of salt. But that is something that, you know, it's probably not healthy for everyone. Also, I am slapping in some of this bright stuff. Little bits of brightness. Oh, hold on. Let me back up a second before I read Sarah's comment. Sarah says, yeah, I've had to completely cut out pretty much all social obligations. Not that I have any real friends, but even meetups and with acquaintances were just stressing me out way too much because it ate into too much time. Yeah, I mean, that's I mean, I don't want to read too much into that, but yeah, I mean, I kind of get it, right? It's like just hanging out can be, it can be time consuming, especially when it's like not on a schedule and it's not planned. And it's like, suddenly it's sort of, it's very easy for stuff to eat out into it. That being said, it's still probably good to have some social time. I will say that's why I like online. Twitch is nice. I've met a lot of friends on Twitch, or at least people who I call friends. So I think it's good for that. Vex says maybe it's just me, but it feels weird it feels like a weird balance trying to figure out how to push myself with art and also take easy enough to make sure I still enjoy doing it. I think that is a weird balance. And again, this is where, I don't know, this is where I think I don't want to sound like a weird, like, self-help motivational speaker guru person, but like, I think this is really where, like, I think your mindset plays a big part. Like, part of it is a goal thing, like what do you actually want to do with your art? Because like for me, I don't conflate like difficulty with enjoyment. Like part of what makes art fun is that it is hard, and so there are elements of the improving process of learning, doing a study that are highly rewarding, right? It might be hard to muster up the energy to like do a study because it's kind of like doing chores or something. Like, do I really want to deep clean my bathroom today? No, but maybe I need to. But then I do it, I'm like, oh, thank goodness I did that. It's out of the way. That felt good. Like, I did a thing. And, maybe that analogy doesn't work for everyone. But with art, like, sometimes I think doing studies do feel like a chore, but they're also super rewarding because you're like, oh, I'm improving. That was totally worth it. I can see the benefits of it. And like I feel good about having done it, and so I think if you take it seriously and if you want it to like be a thing that maybe do it professionally or you want to improve, I think there is a way to make that mental shift of like the hard stuff is fun, it's rewarding. In fact, it's kind of like I don't think it's probably healthy to compare yourself to others. But if you think about like all the people who don't do the hard stuff because it's hard, like, maybe you can pat yourself on the back a little bit by saying like, look at me, I did this today. Like, I'm doing like, I don't know, there's something, I don't know if that's how that relates to comparing yourself to others, but like there's sort of, I think you should feel good about having done the hard stuff, right? Even if it's not like super fun all the time. I don't know. I think there's a way to get there mentally. I don't really know how to do that. Again, it's tricky. It's like, I don't have the answers, but if you can try to think about it like that, it might help. I don't know. Okay. But yeah, that is a weird thing to like make that shift from, I think a good example here is, well, maybe not. I'll hold that thought. Yeah, I don't follow it strictly. I'm not in the headspace to follow it, and I will do something else, like read or work on your world building notes or play video games. Yeah. Sarah says, dude, I spent the entire day cleaning my apartment last week because I hadn't had time to clean in weeks. Was mostly do dishes and lots of books, papers, and other stuff that need to be put away. Did it feel good though when you were done? Like, oh, I'm glad I did it. I don't know. I always get that. Like, thank God that's out of the way. I don't have to think about it anymore. I can check it off my mental calendar or maybe your literal calendar. It's like, I find that, like, I hate doing that stuff. I do not like cleaning. Well, not really. Sometimes it's okay. I like having cleaned, but I don't actually like doing the thing initially. Anyway, that's such a good feeling. Having a clean environment always helps a lot. Yeah, for sure. I think the reason it's hard to feel any reward, especially early on in art journey, is you don't notice any improvement each time you do one. You only notice it a year or two after. True. That's true. But see, this is where I think doing things like... I don't like using the word study because I think people just associate that with like a master copy or something, or like studying from life where you're just observational study. And I mean more like book study. Like, this is where I think doing study, like going and researching something, finding some information that you didn't know before, that to me, it does that part of my brain where like I notice the difference because I know that I didn't know it one moment and now I've learned it, right? Like, if I learn something about, you know, the moss that grows on a type of tree in a certain environment, I can apply that to art, even if I haven't done the art yet. I know that I didn't know that a moment ago, right? And so that, to me, feels like I've gotten better, even though I've never actually done any drawing. And maybe that's a dangerous, you know, route to go down. But, I think actually having like a thing like, oh, this is something about light and shadow that I didn't know before, right? This is where I think like books are really good. You know, like James Gurney's Color and Light. Like, you can read that and feel like, oh, I've learned something, you know? I may not be objectively a better artist, but like, it's certainly a thing I can work on applying. And that to me is... Again, it sort of ticks that part of my brain that feels like I've made progress. So, you know, I did a hard thing, I went out and learned something, and I don't have to, like, visually see that I'm learning, because intellectually I know that I've learned something, right? And to me, painting is sort of just, like, you know, it's sort of... You're making choices, and if you know more, you can make better choices. Hopefully. Hello, Starlick. How's it going? It didn't feel good that I did it. It felt good that it was clean. I don't know what the difference is. The thought, knowing that it's clean though, makes you feel good, right? Like that to me is like, it's not like looking back and you're like, I really enjoyed it. Cleaning my bathroom. No, but it's boy, am I glad I cleaned my bathroom, because now it looks nice and it's clean, and, you know, I don't have to do it for a while again. The brown branches? Aw, thanks. Yeah, I don't know if I like the colors here, but it's something. I'm not sure how I feel about today's paintings, to be honest, but it's a good conversational stream today. We're talking about fun stuff. Sarah says, just like today, I've looked at dozens of different cool animals, but I haven't proved to myself that I can draw them yet. No, but if you've made observations that like, oh, I never noticed that before, surely you can understand that like you have learned something that you could apply. You may not have proved to yourself that you can apply it, but it's still like... something about you has changed since learning that, in the sense that, like, you didn't know it and now you did, right? Did stream crash earlier? I think so. Oh gosh, I dropped a lot of frames. Am I still dropping frames? I don't know. Apparently I've been lagging. Let me close some stuff. I don't know. I'm streaming on YouTube also, so it might be that. Hopefully my stream quality isn't terrible. But yeah, ArtFuse, it might have crashed earlier. Or maybe you would have had to refresh it. At some point the stream just ended, so you moved on, and now it's back. Oh, interesting. Yeah, somebody else said that earlier. It was like at the start of stream. I don't know why. I guess, but it's like how I don't enjoy cooking, but I enjoy trying new foods and flavors and combos, but I still am generally stressed and overwhelmed while cooking. Yeah, I mean, I think that's fine, right? Again, this is where, yeah, no, I totally get that. Like the same, right? I'm overwhelmed and stressed when cleaning. I don't like it. But once I'm done, it's like you get to eat the fruits of your labor, so to speak. Not with cleaning, not literally, but you sort of get to enjoy the fruits of your labor, right? Which is having a clean apartment. And I like that. I like that so it makes it worth it to me, right? It makes doing the sucky part not sucky, just having the thought that, like, I know from experience I'm going to be thankful I did this, right? Or like, it's like I know that at the end of the day, I'm going to be happier looking back on my day if I had been productive than if I wasn't, right? If all I do is sit on my butt and eat potato chips, I don't even like potato chips. I just always use that as my example. But if I sit on my butt and eat potato chips all day, it might be fun in the moment, but at the end of the day, if I like think back about like what I did that day, I don't feel great. I'm like, that was kind of a waste. Like, I wish I would have done something more productive, right? And that's how I feel about cleaning, where it's like, I might not enjoy it in the moment, but looking back on my day, I'm like, oh, that was a good day. Like, I got stuff done. It makes me feel good now. I don't know. Apparently not everyone thinks like that. Like, sometimes I don't care if I'm enjoying the thing. I genuinely don't care if I enjoy an activity. It's more about how it makes me feel later. At least that's what I tell myself when I'm not liking it, right? That's what I tell myself to get through the sucky stuff. Is like, this will be good for me. I'm not like super. I don't want to, make people think I'm like super resilient. I'm like doing all these hard things. I'm lazy as anyone, probably more in many cases. I will kick things down the road and not do stuff, but there are times where like you have to just kind of do it, and that's kind of how I get through it. I don't know. The metaphorical potato chips, exactly. It's also tricky because I'm often so tired and fatigued. It can make it hard to even critically think about future me. True. Yeah, no, this is, yeah, that, and I think for me, like, that whole thing I'm talking about is more of like a mental trick. It's not like, it's not the thought. It's not like I'm planning, like, ooh, I need to clean the bathroom so that I'm happier in the future. It's more like, I know I need to clean the bathroom. I don't want to do it, and I have to trick my brain into doing it, and that method is how I trick my brain. So it's not like I'm like actually thinking in the future like that. I'm not critically thinking about that. It's more of like, I know that I have this problem of I'm not going to do the thing because it sucks, and I need some way to get myself to get into action, because otherwise I won't. A clean environment is probably helpful for a better workflow as well, I can only assume. Maybe. Probably. I think there's science on that, although I think it depends on person. Some people like a slightly cluttered space and they work better in that, I think, and I think some people work better with everything tidy. Um, I think it depends. I also think it depends on what activities you're doing. I think not all activities are treated equal. Um, if I recall correctly, like I hate it when people lump all creative things together as if it's like a monolith. But I think those types of studies around like workspaces and sort of organizational things, I think they tend to group them into like, you know, creative stuff. Most people who view themselves as creative or creative like work that they do tend to like slightly disorganized spaces. Slightly. No, I'm not talking like total slob, but like, you know, compared to the pristine environment, right? With no stimulus around them, right? I think a lot of people, like having things around you that interest you tends to be good, whether that is, you know, I don't think that's the same as clutter, but I think for some people it may not be that big of a difference. I don't know. I think, yeah, surrounding yourself with stuff that make you motivated or inspired, but also having it tidy so that it's not like undone chores that just are sitting there taunting you. You know, unwashed dishes in the sink, like that kind of thing is just gonna make you like, it's hard to do. It's kind of like that deadline, you know, where like if you have a big commission, it can be hard to like relax and play games when you know you have this deadline looming over you. You feel guilty for not working on it. I don't mean that, right? Like I think that's where an uncleaned space can like be that deadline looming over you, you know? It's like, oh, how can I relax and be creative or not relax? How can I be creative or do what I want to do when I have, you know, unwashed dishes, you know, a dirty bathroom, dirty environment around me? Like, it's probably a little bit hard to really get in the flow when you have all these things in the back of your mind. So my hunch is, yeah, a nice space is going to make you a better work, you know, it's probably going to make you a better worker. I don't see why it wouldn't. But anyway. Usually what works for me is to get the point where the stress of the mess is more powerful than the stress of cleaning. Yeah, it's an equal. I think everyone's like that, right? Sarah's just different people have different levels. So like, what's too much? What's not enough? And like, different people are going to be different, but everybody just naturally goes to that equilibrium of like, yeah, organized clutter is fine. Like all my prints and desk stuff and plants and stuff. Yeah. See, some people that would drive crazy, and other people it wouldn't at all. It's like that's needed. So yeah, it's tricky. I don't know. I like this topic. It's one of those things where like I don't typically enact this stuff too much. If I think about it, I'll try. But most of the time it's just interesting to think about and like give yourself ideas. Kind of like this. I'm using some bluish lines to like sketch in things. Feel like a little hedge maze down here would be kind of fun. Like a, you know, it's like a fancy garden area. Maybe not a hedge maze, but like some sort of place. Could be a hedge maze. It's kind of fun. I like that. Something about this. This is one of those things where I wasn't expecting to do this, but my goodness, drawing lots of hedge mazes could be a thing. I'm loving the shapes. Yeah, I think it could be fun to like. Wait, I've reversed it on accident. Oh, hydrate. Thanks. Thank you for the hydrate. There. This reminds me a little bit of the Magic the Gathering, like, Dragon's Maze set from long ago. Oh, this is like a hedge maze. Hedge maze thing, not Dragon's Maze. Anyway, it's kind of fun. Don't know what these are. These shapes. Big plants, I guess. Maybe we go like this. Just giant plants off in the distance. I don't know if the sky is going to look good here, though. Key reminder. Yeah! Skittle, thanks for the hydrate. But yeah, the difference between different people's like clutter tolerances is kind of fascinating to me. I think to me, clutter is fine. Like I don't mind a little bit of clutter. But like to me, I think cleanliness is probably more important than clutter. Like I remember growing up, I had a friend. I've seen like the extreme example of this. So growing up, I had a friend whose parents were like, I think his mom. So it was a friend who was my age, and his mom, she must have had some like germophobia type thing. Like she was extreme. You couldn't even go into her home without like hand sanitizing yourself, and like it was, you know, like take your, you know, obviously shoes off before you step foot in their house, but like hand sanitize, you know, like wash your hands before you get into their car. It was like it was wild, the amount of like germaphobe. But then you go into their home, there might not be germs anywhere, but there was clutter. There was like just they were pretty wealthy, I think, and they just had lots of stuff, lots of toys, lots of things everywhere. It was clean, right? It was clean in the sense that there was, you know, it was sanitized, but there wasn't like crumbs and dirt on the floor and stuff. But there was just stuff everywhere. And it was like, huh, like, and I don't, I kind of like, if I had to lean a direction, I think that's like an okay way to do it. Like, I don't mind if there's stuff around me. I just don't want like molding, you know, food stuck in a corner, you know, and ants and stuff like that. Funny I say that though. I have like a random fly flying around. I don't know why it's here. Messy sounds like a weird scene. It is kind of a weird scene, right? It is very weird. But I think I'm pretty tolerant of like other people's clutter, so long as it's not like unclean clutter, right? Like, and this I don't know, and like I'm not always the most like cleanly person. I'm always the most organized or anything. But I think if there's gonna be a line that's drawn, it's not gonna be on the clutter side. It's gonna be on the cleanliness, right? which is where, like, you know, if you have dishes and stuff, you know, I think there should be effort to be made to like clean your space. Do I care if you have a proper place for your dishes? No, you can just stack them up on the side of your kitchen if you want, for all I care. They don't even need to be in the cupboard. As long as they're washed, you know, like wash them and then do whatever the heck you want with them. I don't care. Stick them on a counter. Put them on the floor. No, don't do that. But you know what I mean. It's yeah. Anyway, this is a fun little scene here. Although I don't like the lighting. Also, this here, maybe we put some characters in here. There's a character in our hedge maze. My roommate is super clean and clutter-free and honestly helped me get into the habit of cleaning every day. Yeah. I mean, I think... Here's my hot take on this. I think when it comes to, like, people interacting with other people, I feel like a lot of that, especially when it comes to cleanliness or, like, organizational stuff, is just... A lot of it's just habits, you know? I don't think it's, like, inherently a personality thing. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong in that, but I feel like that's definitely a thing anyone and everyone can work on if they want. And also being tolerant of like what is clean versus what is messy or like untidy. Like I think untidiness is not inherently a problem. I think uncleanliness could be, right? There's definitely an argument there. And I think people in general should be able to wiggle in any direction, like in how tidy a space. I think I mean, obviously, you know, conditions like medical conditions aside, like if you know, if I don't know, it just depends. I guess it depends on, you know, everybody's different, I guess, but yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Also, what am I trying to paint? Oh, let's put green up here. Green and purple always look nice together. Okay, you know what I'm gonna do? I agreed. I think there's a healthy balance. Yeah, and I mean, I like, you know, like people living together. Oftentimes, there's always like a, you know, like a conflict, right? That's one of those things that's like, you know, anytime you've had a roommate, like first time in college when you have your first roommates, if you go to college, that's like a problem a lot of people deal with, right? It's like messy roommates or roommates who are overly picky about their messiness when they think themselves are not messy, right? I think everybody can, like, you know, if you're living with other people, there's gonna be some messes. But also, if you're living with other people, maybe make an effort to be better than you currently are. And so, like, both people can make an effort, but both people can be lenient. And I don't know. I feel like that's one of those areas where there should be a grace to some degree on both ends, right? Like both people should give grace, but also try their best. I don't know. It feels kind of normal. I don't know. Obviously not for like uncleanliness though, because that's literal like health issues, right? Like if you're not emptying your garbage and thinking, like that's not a matter of like, oh, this is my preference. Nope. that's probably a line to be drawn. Okay, let's do something. I'm gonna merge my layers. And I'm going to slap in a multiply layer. And then we're going to vote here in just a moment. But I want to bring in some lighting in here. I think we're going to use some overlay. I haven't used overlay in a while. But this painting just feels like an overlay painting for the lighting. There. You know what I should do, though? I didn't plan this out very well. Also, unrelated, but your colors always look amazing. Aw, thanks. Unrelated to this, kind of, not really. Now that I'm working on this, I realize I should have had... Hey, Ghost Palette, how's it going? I should have had this thing cast a shadow on this. So, like, position it in a way... Maybe this one's a little larger. I don't know if it's weird to have a giant one right in the middle. This is supposed to be a tree, by the way. I don't know if it's clear. But, like, this tree casting a shadow on, like, a smaller tree, I think is always a neat thing to show there's an interaction. And so, like, maybe I do, like, a cluster of trees or something. This one also looks like it's more forward. But that's something where, like... You're good as John the Painter? Oh, yes! Sorry, I forgot. But now, thank you for reminding me. It's easy to forget. You're gonna have to remind me a couple more times, probably. Ghost Palette. John the Fine Painter. But yeah, anyway, hope you're doing well. Did I ask you why you changed your name? Not that you need to give an explanation, but... I'm always curious why people... are you making thumbnails, or are those going to be finals? Oh, these are definitely just idea sketches, so they're thumbnails. They're thumbnail sketches for just random ideas to figure out what it is I want to paint. And yeah, sometimes that means also working out little problems. You know, working out compositional issues if I need. It was time, and the original name was pointed out to me as too long. I'm not sure I agree with it being too long. I think a name that is longer than normal stands out. It separates you from all the, you know, Joe's art, Joe's sketches, Steve's sketches. Steve's sketches is great, by the way. You know, whoever draws, or, you know, some, like, all those names of, like, you know, Bob paints and Joe draws and Joe's art and you know, Johnny's doodles. Like, I don't know, those names to me, like, they're descriptive, they have your name, they're great, but also they all tend to be like the same length and a similar format, and it's tricky. I kind of liked your name because it did have your name, or I assume your name is John, but it was long, and I think that the longness kind of made it stand out from the others, you know? I don't know. There's something... but, so yeah, I would argue it wasn't too long, but that's neither here nor there. Doesn't matter. Your new name's great. Definitely not trying to make you regret a name change or anything. But yeah, hope everyone's doing well. Thanks for being here, by the way. Thank you for the follow. Okay, the more I work on this thumbnail, the worse I'm making it. But that's okay, because I do have a... Now I have a vision. Not a vision, that's not the right word. I have a plan. And yeah, the plan is just to to cast the shadow on things, and if they happen to intersect, so be it, and I want them to. I want there to be interesting shadow and light sort of interplay on these things. This is some very weird trees, by the way. Totally aware of that. Anyway, I'm not sure how I feel about that painting. But, yeah, let's vote on these. There's not a lot of options going on. These are all kind of samey. Maybe we do a quick overlay here as well. Something like that, maybe. Get some light and shadow under there. Making the space feel pretty cool. Oops, that's too green. You know, get that nice cool blue kind of cast it over this area. I'm cooking beans and rice today. Nice. Beans and rice are great. I think I haven't had a giant pot of beans and rice in my fridge in a long time, but I used to constantly have basically just a whole bunch of beans and I would just mix them into the same, like, I would make a giant pot of rice and a giant thing of, sometimes the rice I would just make fresh because it's better fresh, but also a big pot of beans, and I would just have it in my fridge, and then I would just like it was like super easy for burritos. I would just take a bunch of, you know, take a tortilla, or either heat it up or put it in the tortilla first. Basically, yeah, put in the tortilla, wrap it, heat it up, and you could even, you know, rice obviously is super nice to have handy, but rice is quick. Also, rice makers are amazing. Anyway, let's vote on one of these. I've been eating a lot of chicken sandwiches lately. It's just throwing like a chicken breast or chicken thigh in my oven or my air fryer, I guess, but just throwing it in there and then making like a burger out of it, basically. It's been super tasty and quick. Just start with frozen chicken thighs or breasts. But anyway, let's paint, or not paint, let's clean this up. We're gonna do a quick voting. If you don't know how this works, I'm gonna work on one of these till the end of stream, and I want your help to pick. So that's black screen. So you will get to help pick which one is gonna work, or which one I'm gonna work on. I can't speak today, apparently. Let me just make this straw poll real quick. You can vote for multiple, so if you like 3 of them, you can vote for 3. You could also vote for multiple, you know, 1, 2, and 5, or whatever. Staple here in Louisiana. I don't know much about Louisiana. Seems like a nice place. Maybe. Anyway, there is the straw poll. It should be posted in chat. I'm going to pin it to the top of chat for about 4 minutes. Also, I want to do the daily Wordle today, so we'll do that after. We'll do the Wordle and the connections. I normally do the Wordle before stream, just when I wake up, but I didn't do it today. So, and I don't want to forget because I'm on a streak. I'm on a streak of like 30 something, which isn't great, but we had some hard ones earlier. Anyway, but yeah, if you want to vote, there's the there's the options. The weather sucks most of the time, but in the summer it's good. What do you mean by when you say the weather sucks? What's sucky weather for you? Like, do you like cold weather? Because I love cold weather. So for me, sucky weather is like right now, where it's probably going to be like 100 degrees today. That's sucky weather. But like super cold, where I can bundle up in a coat, it's great. I like coat weather. If I can wear a heavy coat and a wool hat, I'm happy. Yeah, I think painting number 3 is probably just gonna have the most visual appeal, although it needs to be reworked a little bit. Number 5 is interesting. It has the most story probably with the emotion, not the emotion, but like a character pose. Although I don't know if I'm gonna keep the character. I will keep a character there, but I might rework it to be like a, you know, a little forest like elf adventure or something. I don't know. Could be fun. I'll probably do some stylization if we work on it. I think I'm gonna vote for 3 and 5, personally. Four and 2 are winning. Okay, 4 is crushing it. What in the world? 3 and 5 are the worst, the least voted on. What is happening? Well, I'm not gonna question it. The people are speaking, apparently. 4 and 2 are winning. Completely my 2 least favorite. Like, not even close to yeah, I think 4 is actually my least favorite. No, 2 is my least favorite. 4 is okay. 4 is at least in theme with what I was doing today, so that one at least works. That's funny though. 4 looks like video game concept art. Do you mean as long as you don't need to be exposed to harsh outdoors? No, I don't mind it. I don't mind going outside when it's cold and harsh outdoors. As long as I have the clothing to bundle up, I'm okay with it. Obviously, if you're unprepared, like if you're living like a slightly warmer place and you have like unexpected snowstorm, like obviously people are not ready for that weather, right? If you don't have like the road de-icers and road crew and people don't have studded tires and like all hell breaks loose. But no, if you're in like a colder environment and it frequently gets cold and people are prepared in the winter, no, I like the winter. I like cold, harsh environments. Something about being able to bundle up. Also, being inside when it's cold is nice too, right? Being like indoor in cozy weather. But no, even outdoors it's not bad. It kind of makes it fun. Like, if it's compared to like the overwhelming heat. The thing is, they're all great. Oh, thanks, Vexchester. I appreciate it. ArtFuse says 3, 5, and 4. All right. Well, let's see. We should have a winner now. Number 4 has won. Okay, so we're gonna go with number 4 today. I don't know quite what we're gonna do with it. I don't like the colors, but that's okay. We can change them. When in doubt, just change the painting. Just change the painting that you guys voted on to something that I like. No, I wouldn't intentionally do that, but it has happened a few times. It's happened a few times where I will just like start painting and I'll add green and then I start adding shapes and before long it's like it's turned into this painting. And it's like, what just happened? How did we get from the one that you guys voted on to that? But yeah, I don't think it'll be that dramatic of a transformation, but we will see. Let's stretch it and crop it And we're gonna work on this. All right, let's bring back my face. There we go. Sun and stars, how's it going? The contrast in 4 immediately draws your attention. True, it does. The illusion of choice. There's a little bit of illusion of choice going on. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't want to pretend it's more... I mean, one, I drew all the paintings, so, like, or I painted the painting. You know, I drew them, so I'm obviously not going to allow a vote on something that I don't already want. So I am already the choice architect in that I arranged all of the options. So I'm presenting you with 5 options that I'm okay with, that I already like, mostly. So I kind of am going to be okay with it either way. And then from there, because they're unfinished, I can still nudge them in a direction. So there's even less, like, more of an illusion. So yeah, I mean, it kind of... You know, I don't want to make it sound like the choice is irrelevant, because I do genuinely like for you guys to vote on them, and, you know, you can kind of challenge me in a way, or, you know, I'm challenged in a sense that I might be working on my not favorite of them, but if it's that terrible, I'm not going to work on it in the first place, so, yeah. Okay, what I do want to do though before I paint, I want to do the daily Wordle. I don't normally do it at this stage in the stream, but before I forget, let's do the Wordle and the connections. I'm gonna cruise through these real quick, or hopefully I'll cruise through them, or I'll just get stuck and we'll see. Yeah, I have a 37-day streak. I don't want to lose it, but okay. I'm just gonna start with paint, or I don't know. What's a good word? Choice. No, we can't do choice. Paint is I don't know. Do you guys have a good... Yeah, let's do paint. Wait. Oh, okay. We got an N. Wait, it's not NT, so it's probably ND. Like A and D? A and G? Flung? No, would it be past tense? No. Belong. Sound? What about sound? I think sound would be a good word. To get the S in there. Also the 2 remaining vowels that isn't an E. Okay. It's not... So it is E and D. Almost certainly, right? Not trend. Blend. Okay. That wasn't too bad. Prong? No, after we tried sound, it couldn't be prong. It could have been before, though, right? No, there's no P. There's no P before. Prong would have been a good guess, though. I didn't even think about prong. I was just thinking ND or... N is a weird one, right? There's really like ND, NG, NT is a common one, but yeah. And that wasn't too bad. Okay, now let's do connections. This one is hard. I mean, I don't know about today's connections if it's hard, but connections is hard. Also, I don't know if Sarah's here. She normally likes connections. Honeycomb, pane, candy cane, airbrush. Ooh, we got some paint stuff. Organism, biology stuff. Pamplemousse. What is pamplemousse? What the heck is that? Moose? Pamplemousse? I don't know what pample or moose is. Okay, solar panel. Angel. Fix. spreadsheet. Tinsel. Tinseltown? Is there a town in here? Tinsel. It's sparkly. It's shiny. String lights. Angel. Candy cane. These are our Christmas things. Touch up. You could also airbrush, Photoshop, touch up, and fix. Those are all okay. We've got 2 of them. So we've got Christmas stuff. We've got Photoshop, touch up, fix, and airbrush. Those are all like words that are that's a yellow category. Things synonymous with fixing. And then, so hold on. Let's do Angel, Tinsel, and Candy Cane. So now we have vinaigrette. There's something here with like pamplemousse. I don't know what that word means. Solar panel. Pane. Honeycomb. Things that are things with cells. So like solar panels, spreadsheets, honeycomb. Do you call it a cell? I don't know. What the heck is a cornichon? I've never heard that word. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna do something. It's okay. I've got an idea. I'm going to open up. Let me grab a screenshot. Light shot is what it's called. I'm going to take a screenshot. Come on, let me take a screenshot. I want to mark these. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to use yellow, because I'm pretty sure Photoshop, touch up, fix, and airbrush are yellow, or I don't know if they're actually yellow. Then we have stuff with cells, honeycomb, solar panel, spreadsheets. I don't know what the last one is. I'll put a blue there. And then we have a green, let's say green, string lights, Christmas. Where's Christmas stuff? Candy cane, angel, and tinsel. So now vinaigrette, organism, pane? That's not how you spell like pane of glass. Pane equals bread. Pample house. So I don't know what these are. One of these goes with blue. Vinaigrette, not blue. So that's purple. Vinaigrette does not have panes. Cornichon. Don't know what that is. Don't know what that is. Pane doesn't feel... An organism has cells. Oh, well, wait. This has cells. Joe... Okay, I'll look at what they are in a second, but... Okay, there's our answer. I don't know what those are, and I'll read your comment in a second. Organisms have cells? Yeah, you have cells. Like cells in the body? Plant cells, human cells, blood cells. Yeah. No, I'm not getting it by pure accident. What do you mean I'm gonna get it by... I'm getting it because I understand 3 of the 4 categories. Hold on. They're all French words for food? Maybe. Maybe. I may not know that. I don't... Maybe... Wait, do you say pane? And honeycomb? I don't know about honeycomb. Honeycomb has cells. Right? The little thingies. I think this is the answer. I'm gonna lock it in. Let me go back to connections. I could be wrong here, but let's try the purple first. Let's try pane. I don't even know if I'm sharing the right screen. So we're gonna do pane, Pample House, vinaigrette, and whatever those other ones are. I've never done it this way before, but is it? It is. Oh, it's French. Oh, it's French food words. Okay, you were right. You asked what they were. Yeah, but didn't you say honeycomb? Oh, you said they're French words. Okay, yeah. I didn't know what they were. I'll have to look them up. I was just saying that I didn't know what they were. Pamplemousse. Pamplemousse. Oh. Pamplemousse. Okay. So if that's not these things, the cells one. Organisms, spreadsheets, solar panels, and honeycomb. That's things with cells. Okay. And then Christmas, probably. Angel, tinsel, candy cane, string lights. Oh, gotcha. Yeah. See, I got this one, so that helped me out. If I didn't know this one, then I wouldn't have been able to figure this one out. But getting organism in there. I don't know why the word cells came to me, but I was just thinking parts, right? And then once that, anyway, that was not bad. That was a very reasonable connections game. I don't feel like there was anything that was crazy. I obviously didn't know what these words were. I didn't know that word. I didn't know these 3 words. But I did know everything else, so it sort of was easy. But yeah, if there was like one word in here, or like one of the words in here was actually in a different category, I never would have known. I still don't know how you say that. I know you said, but Pamplemousse. Pamplemousse, because it's a band your dad also liked? Interesting. Okay, let's go back to painting. Anyway, this way of like color marking it has been so handy. I did this one other day, and it just makes it so much easier to like make a guess and make it a good guess, because you can just like, you can rule things out. You can kind of put question marks by it. And like, even if you only know 3 of them, you can then figure out 3 of another category. And then pretty soon it's like, okay, I start to understand. So anyway, that's how I do connections these days. Cornichons are just overpriced small pickles. Really mid cafes like to use them. It's funny. Yeah, I'm not a foodie person. I didn't know much about the different types of food. But that's interesting to know. Good to know. Good to always have a food person in chat. When we get stuck, I can always rely on you guys. Okay. Let's what are we let'sing? What am I letting? What's happening? I took French class in high school, so I remember some foods. Gotcha. That would make sense. So are these gonna be building? I mean, probably buildings, right? I mean, I don't quite know what to do here. I feel like if these aren't gonna be buildings, we should have some level of differentiation. Like maybe something like this. And like this. I mean, I don't quite know what's going on. This also feels kind of like a maybe not buildings. Maybe they're, I don't know. What do we want to do with this scene? Oh, my face isn't here. There we go. Now I have a face. I don't know. I'm at a loss, honestly. Maybe we'll look at some industrial stuff, like a industrial themes. I turn on my... Why is my nose itching? Me just itching my nose. Let's see. I'm looking for here. Let me show you guys. The row houses remind me a bit of there. You could also look up Philly buildings. Okay, I might have to do that. Let me find Pure Ref. Where's Pure Ref? Hold on. Black screen. Don't mind me. Okay. I'm opening up Pure Ref. I don't know if I want to go like industrial kind of vibes, or if I don't know. I'll look up what you just said. Row houses Philly. Let's Google that. Row houses Philly. Oh yeah, kinda. Yeah. This kind of thing. Yeah, it also reminds me of like Amsterdam a little bit. Isn't it Amsterdam? Amsterdam houses. Yeah, these, right? It reminds me a little bit of this kind of thing. Different architectural style, but like very similar in sort of, you know, tall, skinny, lots of in a perfectly little line, right? All different colors. I've always enjoyed that vibe. Like, yeah. Right, like this stuff. I quite like buildings that are piled up like that. Anyway, that's Amsterdam, not Philly. This one's Philly. Philly is the Europe of the US. I love that. We have lots of styles: Federalist, Second Empire, Victorian, Rococo, Baroque. You want to visit Amsterdam? It would be cool. It seems like a neat place. Like this, I wouldn't know the dip between these. Like, look at this. That's neat? I like this style. Look at that. They're all like these tall, skinny things. Also, look at those bikes. So many bikes. A lot of bikes. I don't know if I want to go that route, though, because I'm trying to think what's this bridge thing for. And this is where I was thinking, like, this construction stuff. This looks like... Let me send you the ref pack in case you want to use in the future. I'll try to make one with more row house brownstone stuff soon. Aw, thank you. You don't have to, but it's free. No, I appreciate it. I appreciate the work and effort you've put into the different architectural styles and stuff. That's cool. Could be pipes. Yeah, I was thinking kind of industrial-ish, but also I kind of like the idea a little bit. With the tall buildings. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe it's like a weird courtyard thing. Or maybe there's... I don't know. Maybe I'll just play with it. Maybe, yeah, maybe it is like a somewhere between like an industrial... I don't know. I mean, if it's it's fantasy. That's what it is. We've solved it. When in doubt, it's fantasy. So what we're gonna do is do this, and then maybe another one over here. Maybe there's like a courtyard down here. Now the question is this thing gonna be... Is there gonna be like a, you know, a slender ledge? Or... I don't know. Or post-apocalyptic tree branch. Well, I don't want to go that route. I mean, I do. Like, that's how I ended up with that other image that I was working on, right? That's how I ended up with this one, is I literally started with this, and then I turned it into trees. Going the organic route with trees and stuff is definitely a way I know I can make it look something that I'm happy with. I'm very comfortable turning things into organic messes. But I don't want to do that. I want to challenge myself a little bit, and I think the vibe of sort of more architectural, a little bit, maybe sort of this industrial would be kind of fun. So yeah, maybe I'll turn this into a bit of like industrial environment. So I don't quite know how I'm going to do it, but I think there will be a way. But yeah, Sarah, you feel free to send that either in here or in a DM or however you want. Or if you want to make it public, you can put it in Discord in like a reference place. Whatever you want, up to you. I don't know if I'm going to open it on stream because I don't know. I guess it depends on the format or where it is. Yeah, so I was trying to find it. Yeah, no worries, no worries. Don't mean to rush you. I can put it in Discord so everyone connects to it. All right. Well, that's very kind of you. It's in a zip. You probably don't want to deal with that. Yeah, I don't really want to deal with unzipping stuff and figuring out where to save it in file management on stream. It's a little bit of a, I don't know. I only have like 3 brain cells to work with when I'm streaming, and they're all taken up. So trying to do anything that is out of the ordinary on stream is too much for me. Okay, let's think about the lighting. The lighting could be fun. So maybe there's lighting coming from this direction. I mean, I kind of like that it's symmetrical, but maybe not. Maybe we do... I mean, what we could do is... If there was light coming from this direction, it would still cast big shadows over here, right? Because there's buildings. Okay, it's up. All right, fantastic. Thank you. I'm not going to click on it now. I'll do it late off stream. But yeah, thank you. And also that last reference pack that you sent was very nice. It was also in a zip. Yeah, I appreciate you going through the effort. I mean, I know it wasn't with the intention of sharing here, but so I guess work was already done, but it is very nice. When other people do work that make it easy for you to learn stuff because the work has been done of like compiling, it makes it so much nicer. Alright, yeah, this is gonna be... We're making it steampunk again. Steampunk... place. Also, I don't know if... Should these be up, straight up and down or not? I mean, I kind of feel like... I like them at a slant, but I don't know if that's the right thing to do. I have almost 8,000 Philly picks, so I just started picking out about 100. Dang. That's cool, though. Maybe these extend down further? Maybe it's just like into the void? Maybe that's what we do. Into the void we go. There is no bottom. But what we can do... Maybe we bring in like a bright red. And just do some sketching. Bright red or bright green? No, I think red would work. I kind of want to sketch with like bright green. That would be fun. But I don't think it would look good on this. Maybe. What about like a bright blue? Ooh, that would look nice. Let's do that instead. Oops. I know it's not important what color I sketch with, but these bright colors could be neat. This also makes it look like it's paint or something, the shadows. Longish windows here. So I'm trying to sketch in some perspective here, and then I can start doing some details a little bit. This is kind of weird because a lot of when you're doing architecture, I find a lot of times there are little details, like, you know, if I have an image like this, for example, I don't know if you guys can see that, right? Trying to like take one of these buildings and sort of understand some of its architectural styles enough. I know this is Amsterdam, so I'm not actually going to use this. I'll probably use the Philly one. This one is a better example, right? Understand some of the styles and be like, okay, there's 2 windows per building. There's these little offshoot thingies, these little slopey things, which is neat. So maybe we'll put in some of those. So this is a, you know, now we got to figure out the scale of stuff. Like maybe there's windows here and here. And then these slopey things are this big. And then, you know, maybe we're going to make them this wide. Slopey things. Awnings. I know the word's awnings, but you know what? Slopey things is a better word. Yeah, so we got our slopey things here in pairs. They can be represented as little squares. You know, some of the tops of the buildings, you know, if they come out this way, maybe there's an extra shadow here. These are also flat topped. I don't know if what I want to do with the sky. Do we want to put blue up here? That might be a fun thing to do. Oh, yes, the void. Yeah, the void. Or do I want to go bright? I mean, bright's kind of neat. I don't know how good that's going to look. But then we can also go a little brighter up here with some of these buildings, like white. Oh, this is the loud song, isn't it? Yeah, very loud song. We'll turn it down a bit. This one can be bright. This one can be bright. A little silly. Also, this feels like waterfalls, doesn't it? Do we want to put waterfalls in here? Hold on, I got an idea. I know this is not what we were doing. But dang it if I don't want to add some greenery in here. I mean, I do want to add greenery in here. I know I'm just pushing... I always just end up pushing paintings in certain directions. But a little bit of greenery up here. Maybe some industrial pipage going on. Maybe some of these have pipes. Not all of them. I don't know. Something like that. Kind of weird. I sort of I'm changing it as I work. And this is gonna be maybe red. I don't know. We can get some different colors in here. This is, I don't know if I like this. I mean, value-wise, it's kind of a mess, but I think we can start fixing it. I don't know. This is just a kind of a fun doodle of a painting. If it turns out to be a total disaster, I'm okay with that. You know, that's part of just this way of painting, you know? It's just fun. That's what we're here for, is fun. And I think that's a good, you know, I think streaming-wise, I like sharing this stuff sometimes, like the paintings that don't work out. I'm not saying this one isn't working out, but it might not. I mean, I know I can turn it into something that works, but whether or not... Whether or not I will is another story. Because sometimes I don't, you know, if I'm trying to stay true to what I wanted to do in the first place, then it may not work out. And I'm kind of deviating already from that. Some people down there walking down this path. Also, this path is not very straight. Which I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I will say I like some of the brown colors there. Yeah, this one to me is not coming together yet. Like the sort of the structure of it is not making sense in my brain. Let's go like this. add a little bit of an area down here. In this area. Maybe there's an area back here as well. And again, maybe some lights catching down here. So maybe there's some brighter trees or something. Some plants. I don't know. Let's see. This could go down here. Do I like that, though? I don't know. This is a weird one if the commentary is not turning out great. But that's okay. That's just a thing I'm putting up with. What if we put in some, like, bright orange? A little bit of little gold, little hanging over things that we had. I'm kind of liking that. And maybe some here. Should only be where the light's getting. Maybe there's like another walkway down here, though, and it's catching some light. Something like that, maybe. And then this one also is going to have some... And then maybe this side has that other pathway down here. I'm cooking. Is that what they say? Somebody says that. I think I'm having something's going. Something's working. Okay, so now the question is, what material is this? Because it should it be this shiny or this bright? Well, whatever it is, it can be not that bright down here because there's skylight hitting it. And yeah, maybe there's some of these things. I don't know if all of this needs to have waterfalls, so maybe we'll get rid of some of them. And maybe there's little buildings up here, little houses. Maybe some of these houses have like gold trim off in the distance. I don't know. Maybe this is stupid. Does this even looking like anything? Not really. It's giving me a little bit of like Arcane vibes, where like you get the fancy houses up above. Which isn't really what I intended, but it does do a little bit of that with like the mix of like the copper for like the steampunk vibe. Maybe we have like the big skyline, sort of the fancy buildings in the back. Definitely is a little bit of that. Maybe little hedges on the side. Just to, you know, break up the shapes a bit. Add some color. Maybe some of this is going to be a little brighter. The top of the hedges. Should probably focus on scale a little bit back here. Not have any of these hedges too tall. This one's significantly further out. And something like that. Something here. Some little lines for the roofs. These roofs we could start focusing on shapes of different types. So like maybe this one's a pointy shape with like the shine. Also, I might be dropping some frames. That's okay. I think it's all working. So yeah, maybe this one's pointy roof, this one's square, and so we have more of these little, like, you know, tops. Also, the sides of the buildings can be showing a little bit. Maybe some interesting, like, silhouettes there. Of different places, kind of city skyline almost vibes. To make it look a little bit more developed and almost industrial, like it's a flourishing city. What else? Definitely some bright light here though. Shining on these little things. And because this is the main focus, I'm gonna go real bright up here. Wait, that's not how you draw in perspective, is it? No. Hold on. Perspective's hard. How do I perspective? Oh, there we go. Maybe. We get it right? I don't know. Let's see. I don't know if I like that shape. I mean, maybe we just go horizontal. Maybe I can't draw curves in perspective, so let's just not. Let's just not do that. There. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is this a thing? Is this stupid, or is it kind of good? I don't know. I can't decide if I hate this or like it. This scale is kind of a weird one for me to work at. that's kind of cool. I sort of like the weird brown sketching that I've been doing. It's sort of the line work over the top of it. It's kind of a vibe. Don't know if the and then this like central waterfall thing. You love the additional bridges. Thanks. I think there's a big center here where this waterfall thing is falling in. Yeah, I'm glad you like the additional bridges and stuff in the depth. I think it definitely is going to help um, help show the depth. I also wanted to make them not like, you know, if there's one back here, I didn't want it exactly on the side, so I put it over here, right? And so you have these sort of at different heights. Also, this color is kind of neat. Maybe there's some banners hanging down, flapping in the wind. Oh. Yeah, it's kind of fun. This sort of painting is interesting to me because it's sort of going along pretty quick because I'm just sort of doodling on it. I'm not it actually feels like so there's this Minecraft YouTuber slash Twitch streamer. He's probably live right now. His name's Wax Fraud. He's sort of like, as far as I know, he's an extremely intuitive builder, and that like he's played around so much with, you know, it's kind of like how I've done a lot of thumbnailing and just sort of like doodling, sketching from imagination, and just like, you know, if he's like, I think a color would go here. I think that, you know, this block would look nice here, and he basically just throws stuff out, and it tends to look okay. But what he's doing kind of reminds me of this, where it's like there's like kind of a theme, but he's just sort of like doing lots of little stuff. It's almost like making lots of little marks on the page and just sort of slowly building it up. I don't know. It feels very similar in some ways to like what I'm doing right now. And not all of my paintings feel like that, but this one is. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird, but I like it. Let's add some lines. Like, I'll admit, I actually really like this painting so far, but I kind of have a hunch it's not as readable as I might think it is. It's probably one of those things where, like, when I know what it is, it's gonna be more clear than you know, you guys knowing what it is, even when you don't. That's my hunch anyway. So I'll probably have to do some extra work to like push the values, make things just feel a little bit more, you know, the shadows will be a little bit more in shadow. The lights will be a little bit more in light. Really just, I think just picking out some, like, is this stuff in light? Or like, is this bridge over this thing? And if so, maybe we should, you know, do like an underside there that's just a little bit more dark. Same thing here, right? This underside is in shadow. Maybe some of these, the light, we would catch less of it, and so we can really go deep down into the dark. And then here we can get a little bit of light underneath the. And And then, yeah, maybe down here we start, again, not to steal from Arcane's vibe too much. You know, maybe down here there's just more stuff. There's like more catwalks and more bridges. I mean, this is not as far down like in the dark depths, but you know, it kind of gives that like, okay, well, there's obviously going to be less light. So maybe our design reflects that, makes it look a little bit more unfinished or clumsy, you know. Little shapes. Maybe there's some people. Maybe we'll put some people in here. We were talking about that. You know, some people to walk in. I've done this stuff before where we put little people in here and do like bridges and lots of stuff. But what if we add color? So here's some people. Just, you know, clusters, no particular order. Okay, and then what if we make them like bright red? You know, just that little punch of color in here. Red-robed characters. I know that's a little... Here, you know what? We're not going to make them have robes. We're going to give them faces, so we're just going to orange dot them. Orange and red dot. Give them dots for faces. Different. Trying to vary the color of the dots a little bit. Not really that it matters, but it can be nice just to add variety in color and texture. There. We've got a little scene. We've got some people. Maybe there's some people walking down here. Little just park goers. Everybody's in red apparently. Maybe not a lot of people. And also, this whole painting is kind of like on its side. It's kind of crooked, but that's okay. Maybe some things over here. Maybe some little shapes that were like, you know, based on real buildings, how they kind of stick out at the top. And then they have like that little tower thingy. Get some silhouettes in there. I didn't do much silhouette work on this, but that's okay. This big central building. These little window thingies. Also, is this gonna be another vent? Nah, maybe not. Also put some shadow underneath this vent. And under the awnings. Let's just block that up, and then we'll go dark shapes here. Kind of remind me of like the big window gaps in those buildings that we just looked at. Although these buildings are not as close cornered to each other. Which I think is okay. We can put some gaps here. I mean, these don't really make a lot of sense, but they kind of vibing with it. kind of going with the flow. Maybe we... What about adding like a... one this way? Or maybe on this top ledge. Could do that. Let's focus on this. Oh, I'm getting kind of hungry. Let's focus on that, and maybe we'll go... I don't know. As I get closer to the camera, it's harder. Because then I have to actually care about my lines more. No, honestly, at this point, I don't. But there are some things that I think are fun. I think this is fun overall. I don't know about the composition. Again, it's kind of a weird central thing, which I'm not a huge fan of. Also, what's up with the lack of triangular roofs on this side? Do you guys ever do that where like one half of your painting will have a totally different vibe than the other half because you were more focused on like composition than you were like what you were painting? And so like I wasn't thinking about putting the triangles over here, but I put them all over here. All of these have triangles, and then over here there was none. I don't know if you guys ever do that. That's something that I find myself doing a lot. Or like, I'll do it with like tree shapes. I'll put a certain type of tree shape in my painting, and then the rest of the painting won't have that kind of tree shape. So like only the foreground will have a certain shape, and then the background won't have any of that shape. Or it'll be the opposite, you know, tons of a certain shape in the background, but there's no hint of it anywhere else, like in the foreground. I like this. I mean, these could maybe be a little taller. Okay, kind of weird that this is going straight towards that area, but... Okay, now, let's try something to wrap this up. Color dodge. Oh, also, Coleacanth, great username, just noticed. Coleacanth. That sounds like it could be a flower. I don't know what that is. I don't know my botanical names. I assume it might be, because it sounds like it could be. I actually don't know. I don't know that one. It sounds like it could be a botanical name, but I have no idea. Putting in some extra lighting. It's coleanth. Oh, it's a fish! Oh, coelacanth. Oh, Coelocant. It's a fish and your username is Cole. Gotcha. Gotcha, gotcha. That's cool. Tried to get one into our game, but I'm not sure if I'll make it. Oh, it's super ancient fish they thought were extinct. They look cool. Oh, interesting. I'm gonna have to look it up. You try to get one into the game? That's cool. Okay, I think this is a good. I mean, I'm liking this. I'm happy with this. Although this shape needs to be darker because there's obviously going to be light that is not making it in here. If this is now we have this directional light. I don't know, kind of a fun little scene. It's a little chunky. Like my lines aren't very crisp and they're very painterly, and so there's a lot of like unknown stuff just kind of floating around. Like what's happening here? Maybe there's like a garden back here. The garden district down below. Lots of varieties with fancy leaves. Trees. What games are? I always loved them in Animal Crossing. Top Secret. No. I don't think it's Top Secret. Okay, I think back here we can go a little brighter. And this side should be a little brighter anyway, because this is where the light's coming from. But yeah, Colianth asks, what game, Sarah? A game I'm in a concept art called Zoomino. You love that's an Animal Crossing's New Horizons. Yeah. Also, Sarah, did you play much more of that the Amber Island game or Amber Island? I don't know what it's called. Animal Crossing with dinos. And if so, how was it? Because I think I pretty much stopped watching you play it after a little bit after character creation. It looked cute though. It was definitely a neat game. Speaking of which, Sarah streams. You should follow her. She streams games and art. You came back. You were in Lurk, Stiller. Your drawing is just giving me vibes of a city in Earthbenders. Oh, I can see a little bit Earth. I mean, this is more like ornate though than Earthbending. Earthbending is very like they do have a lot of patterns and stuff, but it's not as ornate. It's more like sculpted and carved, right? Because it's big stone things. So this doesn't to me. This is more. This is like feels more a little bit like arcane a little bit. with like metalwork. I'm sorry. Oh no, is my stream malfunctioning? Um, I said also, Sarah, did you how are you, or did you play any more of Amber Island or Amber Isle? Animal Crossing but with dinos. And if so, how was it? Or how is it? Because I think I stopped watching you after or like pretty much after character creation. But yeah, I think the sort of like the intricate metal work is not, it doesn't quite give me Earth Kingdom, but I kind of get what you're going, what you're, the color palette with like the random bits of greenery and like an otherwise brownish environment is totally. You're gonna have hopefully more time to play games in November, December. Gotcha. You planned that stream so you could at least play them for a little bit. I see. When you say things like I planned a stream so you can play them a little bit, and you might be able to play more games in December or November, man, that makes me feel like a degenerate with the amount of, like, I make a lot of time to play video games, and now I feel like I should not, and I should do more stuff. uh, but yeah, no, I've been playing a lot of Path of Exile 2 lately because it just came out. There's a new major update in on, when was it, Friday, and so it's been out for like 5 days or something, 6 days. Tomorrow will be a week, I guess. But yeah, you know what, I am getting a little tired though. I need some food, and then all that stuff. Food, yeah, food's good. But no, I'm liking this painting. I had a lot of fun with this. Maybe more ornate stuff on the top. You can almost just use this line as like sketching. So let's do some quick sketching here. Trust me, I miss playing them, but I've been in a really hard practice portfolio push for the last few months. And I will last until Lightbox and give them. See, that's some serious like dedication, and I'm jealous, and also like part of me is jealous of that work mentality. But like, are you doing that like how many hours in a day? Like, what do you like? I mean, if you don't have any time to, like, let's say play games if you wanted, like, are you literally like 16 hours a day? Like what's the, are you literally from sleep until awake? Or I mean, I assume chores and like eating stuff and, like, cleaning, all that. Like, you still have to like do your basic things, but like, sounds like it's some crazy amounts of work. Man, I don't know. Like, I feel like you must be a way harder worker than I am. Your work ethic is out of control. Your self-motivated work ethic, I should say. I feel like my work ethic's pretty good when I actually have a job that I'm doing, which I do have a job, but like until recent, I was using lots of doctor and vet stuff. Gotcha. You originally get it 3 to 4 times a week after work. The other days I'm either working longer or too busy to play video games, so I just watch YouTube or something. Understandable. You haven't even been that productive, to be honest, but as productive as I can with fatigue and other stuff that keeps popping up. I see. So I'm definitely not grinding like crazy. Okay. See, that's the thing, like, when I'm grinding like crazy, it's still like I just get more tired fast, and then I still have to do something to like just mindless, which is, yeah, like YouTube or video games or something, right? Although some games are not mindless, and some games I don't always have the energy to play. Funny enough, like Minecraft is one of those games. It's surprisingly not mindless, and it's hard for me to just like totally zone out because it's kind of creative and like I have to like self plan what I want to do in it. I can't just do anything. Like I could do anything, but like having that unlimited options is kind of like I have to use my brain to figure out what it is. It's not a game that tells me what to do and then I just do it. You know what? This place needs railings. I mean, I'm not like a, you know, I'm not big on like everything has to be safety first in art, but like, come on, this thing has no railing. What's wrong with me? A fancy society like this one, with this ornate stuff everywhere, would absolutely have railings. Even if they're just like simple little pillar railings. Not pillar, I'm talking about little simple, like, not pillar, that's not the right word. It's like just little, I don't know, like just like a very simple railing. You don't know if you can think of any games that are mindless? Gotcha. Yeah, I guess I think of like not OSHA compliant. Yeah, it's not very OSHA compliant at all. But I wanted to make it a little bit more OSHA compliant because I think it's just that to me feels like it falls into good design. It's like it makes sense, and if these were actually people living here, you would have children running around falling off ledges and like, you know, so you would want some sort of safety measures, you know? Ooh, maybe there's some stairs going into some of these buildings. Especially if I'm doing one main job, one small side job, one on a fast project. Rip your Duolingo. I miss doing it, but it was just one too many things right now. See, that's what makes me feel like you have like a really like busy, strong work ethic. Like the fact that a 5 minute I mean, I guess there's a mental side to it, right? You were at 145 days before I had to cut it out because I had too many different tasks to keep track of. Yeah. See, I do Duolingo every day, or I try to, and I'm at like an 800 and something streak. Um, but it doesn't. I don't know. It's very quick. I don't really worry about it. I don't know. I don't really think much about it, and I just do it every day. You don't. Yeah, but it's relative, right? Like everything you're saying, I'm like, oh my gosh, how do you like? Do you like the point I would have to get to feel like I need to cut out a 5 minute Duolingo lesson, right? Like all I've cut the things I need to cut out, and that is the thing that's like next on the chopping block. Like I have dozens of things I could cut out before I would have to cut out some random 5 minute thing, right? Like that to me is like saying, "Oh, I don't have time to do the Wordle every day, so I just don't do it." Because it's like I had to make a choice of cutting it out so I can be more productive. Like that to me is like I'm trying to imagine the scenario in which like I couldn't have that time or that that time is too valuable, right? I don't know how. I'd have to be infinitely more productive. I'd have to be doing like I just don't understand how I would do it. I could do it while on the toilet, for example, and like maybe it's because like for me um those things aren't that mentally taxing. And so, but again, I'm also not doing other stuff that you are that probably is more mentally taxing because you're much more productive than I am. Yeah. When you wake up 15 times throughout the night, it leaves a lot less total brain space and energy to work with today. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, sleep quality and other factors could absolutely contribute. Yeah, understandable. And that sucks, by the way. Sorry you have struggle sleeping. Is that just like a, I don't mean to pry, but is that like a just a normal thing, or is that more like heat related or seasonal type thing? I'm just trying to add little like embellishments here. Not really details per se. I guess they are technically details, but just things that I can kind of draw in perspective. Although I don't even know if I am. I don't know if I like that building there. For the foreground, it's kind of it's something. It's a lifelong thing. Oh, oof, oof. I did a sleep study and they confirmed I get very little REM sleep, but I didn't really know what to do from there. I have a follow up virtual appointment in November, but I have a feeling they're not going to have any useful ideas. Oh no. Well, I hope they do. Yeah, best of luck. That sounds rough. I'm gonna try to add some gesture back into these buildings. I think they're getting a little stiff. Sometimes there's buildings with like cool patterns on this roof. Also, roofs can have little pointy thingies. Little shapes and patterns. Little weather vanes or antennas. Oh, I don't want it to look like a tree though. That is that. I don't know if that works. Let's try it. Let's do this. Let's make a shape that goes. Little shapes everywhere. Just very, very simple. Um, I kind of want to put power lines in here. I know that this is almost breaking the vibe of the scene, but like, wouldn't it? I don't know. I feel like it would add something to add like these power lines that come across. No, probably not. I mean, that gets a little messy. We could add like lines down here. We'll just go like that. This is a good final image. By final, I mean just for the end of stream. Some things over here that probably need some help. As far as like mood though, I mean, it kind of gives a vibe, right? You know, it's not super well designed, but in terms of aesthetic, there's sort of a kind of does a thing. It does something for me anyway. I don't know. Not actually sure how I feel about it. This kind of thing is tricky for me. So what's going on down here? Maybe these are like catwalks. You like the gilded steampunk S vibe? Yeah, the gilded vibe. I think it looks nice. I've always liked this. It's sort of, yeah, little shiny bits. Like the green and gold is just, there's definitely a look there, you know? There's definitely a look to the green and gold. All right, a little bit there. Maybe this one has a giant hole here. No, is that too much on the side? I don't know. I think compositionally it's gonna look weird. I was thinking about doing like another water thingy, you know? Maybe it works. I guess it could work. Especially if we do like a grate here. That kind of kills the contrast. I like my grates. I like my big yeah, that kind of thing. Those sort of water vents or pipes. Okay. But yeah, thanks for being here, everybody. I really appreciate it. I think this is a good spot to call it done for today. Lots of detailing. Probably not the best banter or chatter today. So anyone who stuck around, I very much appreciate it. It means a lot. And if you're on YouTube, thanks for watching. I stream 3 days a week, Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And is that it? Mondays, Thursdays, Saturdays? Yes, that's it. 11 a.m. Pacific time. And yeah, hope to see you here. Thanks for the follows. Thanks for the subs. Thanks for, I don't know, subscribing to my, oh yeah, thanks for subscribing to my Patreon. Yeah, I very much need to make an update because it's been a while. But if you are a Patreon subscriber, there's like 4 of you. Thank you for the additional support. Very much appreciated. Patreon.com/JSawyer.